Welcome to Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from Central California with your hosts Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas. Broadcasting video worldwide at paranormalcentral.net and broadcasting audio on the Dark Matter Network at artbell.com. Are you ready to witness something that you cannot explain?
I'm looking for you, you're looking for me. We have to decide what it will be. Can it be true? Can I believe the unexplained? Look into the sky.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from the Paranormal Studios in the bottom left-hand corner of the Nevada Triangle. Good evening, my name is Jeffrey Gonzalez. I am your host. I'm also the founder of a group called the Sanger Paranormal Society. We've been in existence over 13 years, been doing this show for 7 years. So if this is your first time, welcome wherever you may be around the world. We have fans now popping in everywhere, and that's awesome. We are broadcasting on live stream, HD quality for all you who are watching us right now. If you want to listen to us, you can also do that at the artbell.com website on the Dark Matter Network. And you can listen to us there as well. Excuse me. We have a big show for you tonight, and I don't know why, but that music is blaring, so, isn't it?
Yeah, you can turn mine down a little.
Yeah, we have added a third seat in here, as you can see. The middle seat is vacant. We have a good friend of ours, and I can say that because he is. Mr. James Fox is going to be walking in here in the studio in a little bit. He is coming in from San Francisco, and he's actually coming in here for a couple of reasons. Tomorrow we are starting to shoot the TV show, and Mr. James Fox is going to be episode number 1 on the TV show. So, Mr. James Fox is going to be in the studio here. He's actually driving in from San Francisco, and I think he is. I know where he's at somewhere, but I don't know. When he gets here, obviously he'll come in and sit down and probably be here for the rest of the show. So, can't wait for that. Again, if you are watching us on live stream, I'm hoping that you're getting us on HD quality, because it sure looks good on our monitors over here. All right, let's go. Okay. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and call Danny, like we usually do. For those who don't know, Danny is our Squatch reporter, and he's gonna give us the know-how on Bigfoot from around the world within the past week. And then I'm trying to get a hold of Heidi so we can go ahead and call Heidi and then get her to get on the phone, so that way we can go ahead, and as soon as James Fox gets in here, we can go ahead and just talk with him the rest of the show. And I think there's a lot of things I want to talk about with James. I think, on the TV show, we can only get into certain subjects, and we really can't get into it like we want to. Like, for example, chasing UFOs. When we did that episode with James Fox and Aaron Ryder, there's a lot of stuff that got cut out, a lot of the good stuff, and I don't know why. I'm going to try to ask them why, but it's all about the networks. It's what they want to allow to get put on TV. So I do want to talk to him about that. But, there's a lot of other stuff we're going to talk about James. And, obviously he's Mr. UFO guy. For those who don't know James Fox, out of the blue, and I know what I saw, is his 2, documentaries that pretty much put him on the board, on the wall. And, everybody knows him from that. So, and right now he's working on a motion picture. That's going to be in theaters. I think he just started, but I don't know how long it's going to take for him to film that, but we'll see what happens. So
We'll find out.
yeah, we'll find out. So let me go ahead and get a hold of Danny. And we have guard dogs here at Paranormal Central Studios because, man, some crazy stuff happened yesterday. Yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about that before I call Danny. On Friday, what?
Number?
What number? Oh, 4219. Twice. And, who was that? There's James. Hold on, guys. Hello, James. Yes, then you want to go north now. Make a left. Sorry, guys. Hold on. So you want to go over... Oh, no. You want to go towards... well, depending on which mountain. You're going to go north on Clovis Avenue. Oh. When you got off the freeway, which way did you go? Oh. Okay. Crap. Oh. Well, then you're cool. You wanna go. You want to make a left out of there and go down Clovis Avenue. Go make a left. So you went wrong. You went south instead of north. Sorry, guys. Right. Exactly. Right. I think so. It's right across the street from Winter's Nest, right? Yeah. So to just go head to the left. So if you and then you're gonna go over the freeway that you just got off of, and you're gonna go probably 2 miles, 3 miles, and it's on your right hand side on Gettysburg. Right. No. You want to make a right. Correct. And you'll see them. They'll be right there. 2 of them together. Wow. So, okay. All right. You'll be good. Okay. Okay. Bye. All right. Sorry, guys. Apologies. That was him. He got a little lost in Fresno, and yeah, you can get lost in Fresno. So okay. So let me tell you what happened yesterday. Actually happened Friday. I got this weird call, and you know what? A lot of you guys are not gonna believe me, and you know what? At this point in time, there's nothing I can do to make you believe me or not, but I'm gonna tell you what happened to me, and then what it continues happening to us because of what we're doing. As you all know, I have a 24-hour UFO hotline, and I've had that now going on almost when I started the Sanger Paranormal Society, and that was, like I said, 2002, 2003, right around there. And my number now is, we're getting a lot of calls from around America. I mean, Alan can pretty much, my wife gets upset at me because that phone rings off at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And we just get calls from all over the place now. And I guess what they're doing is they're typing in paranormal and 24-hour or paranormal hotline, and our number's coming up, which is awesome because we're getting all kinds of calls from Bigfoots to evil demons to UFOs. I mean, it's all the same, guys. It's crazy and it's awesome. And Friday I got a call, and you know what, Eddie, if you are listening, dude, this lady lives in the same mobile home complex where you lived. All right. She called me. She was a photographer. She says she's outside and she takes, pictures up in the sky, and she's getting a lot of stuff. And she was like really weird, and not weird, but I want to say scared, because by the way she was talking, she was getting some great stuff. And she goes, I need to send it to you, Jeff. I'm going, okay. So I gave her my address, and I told her, well, how are you going to send them to me? She goes, I'll put them on a flash drive and I'll send them to you. And I said, okay. And she goes, I don't want you to make them known right away. I want to see if they're real or not. And I said, okay. And then she goes, well, what do you know about chemtrails? We got cut off. As soon as she finished the last word of trails, she said, chemtrails. And my phone got cut off. And I'm looking at my iPhone, and I have all the bars on it. And this is the second time this has ever happened. The first time was with my sister who lives in Sanger. She called me 6-7 years ago, said, hey, there is a triangle that just went over the Walmart in Sanger heading towards you. And she called me to tell me I was outside, and she was about to give me exactly the location. Click. My phone went dead. I'm looking at it. It's the iPhone that had full bars on it. I called her back. It was busy. I called her back. I got it. Got her on. I go, what happened, Veronica? And she goes, I don't know. I was talking to you, and it went dead. She goes, okay, well, which way is it going? It's going click, and it went dead again. It got cut off. Just like click. I'm on, you got to be freaking kidding me. So I tried it the third time, and I got her back on. She said, it's gone. So I don't know where it's at. And I'm all, son of a beep. So, and this is what happened on Friday. Okay, it as soon as she said chemtrail, click, we went dead. And to this day, I still can't get a hold of her. I call, and it goes just straight to voicemail. Now, on Saturday, somebody hacked into my wife's bank account. And also on that day as well, there was an outage in our area for the internet. And then the outage was taken care of yesterday morning at 9, but our box didn't come back on. And I called Comcast for the longest time, and we're trying forever. And everybody else is fine, but little old us is no internet at all. So I am panicking because James' box is obviously coming in here. And so I said, and I was talking to a live person. I'm going, you guys better get your you-know-what out here Sunday morning because I work for AT&T. So I told them, you better give me a window between 8 and 10. And they did. They showed up, and they gave me a new modem, so we're up and running. But we got a call last night from somebody in Pennsylvania, right, Alan? Is it Pennsylvania?
Yep, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And some guy shot a Bigfoot.
That's what he said.
Okay. And the guy was scared.
20 feet away.
The guy was scared out of his wits, out of his mind. He called Alan, talked to Alan for a while. Alan had to go home. Then he called back and talked to me for a while. And him and his brother are scared out of their minds. Now, are they trying to pull a fast one on us?
It was really hard to tell. They seemed legit. I mean, the guy was, I think, crying. And he was asking me, "Are they going to kill me? Are they going to kill me?"
Right.
And what do you tell them?
Well, when you went home, and I got the phone rang, and it was them again, and I was listening to Alan talk to them because we were in the studio getting ready for today and tomorrow, and I told him, well, I overheard you talking to Alan, and so you did shoot one, right? And he goes, yeah. I go, well, you're gonna die tonight.
Oh,
I mean, literally, I said that, and he freaking freaked. Because let me tell you something: if you kill a Bigfoot and he has family around him, they're gonna get you.
Yeah,
right?
Well, this guy's story was like he tells me he's 20 feet away. He's on his porch, and he has a Remington 700, and he shoots it right in the chest. And he said he always shoots things in the chest because they die, right? That's where you kill things.
He's a hunter. He doesn't know who we are. He doesn't never listen to our show. He just went on. Matter of fact, he asked you a question.
Yeah, he says, what do you think about Bigfoots and UFOs, right, being together? And I told him, well, lots of reports of Bigfoots and UFOs together. Some of them seeing the Bigfoot coming out of a UFO, some of them the Bigfoot's going in the UFO, right? He said, well, I'm glad you said that because this big UFO lit up the forest right in front of my house, like a big, glowing, lit the whole forest up, and out of this light comes 3 Bigfoots. And he said they look like they had revenge on their mind, like they're gonna get him,
Right.
And then while we're on the phone, you could hear something hitting the house, right? And it was freaking the guy out. He was like almost crying. after a few of those, he goes, I gotta go, man. They're not gonna kill me because I'm gonna kill them first. And he goes, which would you use, a shotgun or a 700? And I told him shotgun, 12 gauge, right? And he goes, yeah. I go, shotgun with a slug. That way you just kind of like point and shoot, and it's gonna hurt, really. And no aiming or anything. You can go from the hip and you can unload 8 of them, real quick. He's like, okay. He goes, if I get any pictures, I'll send them to you. I'm like, all right. So, and we hung up.
Yeah. And then he called me and we talked and all that kind of stuff. So, stories like that, do we know if they're true or not? It's hard to say. But, I can tell, because I've gotten so many phone calls in the past, I can tell you if one is trying to pull a fast one on us or not. And it's just by getting these calls that I can weed out those type of calls. So,
you know what I thought? I bet that we have viewers or Facebook friends in Pennsylvania or right by him. I bet. I mean, is there anybody out there in chat that's next, in Pennsylvania? Maybe we could hook him up where, get them two together, and then the guy could go do a face-to-face.
I still got his number because it came up on the
right,
and it's just sitting there. So I know his number. We can call him back,
and then we'll find out if he's real or not.
Right. So and because you never know, you absolutely never know. So okay, we're gonna get a hold of Danny, and get him on the line and see if his mom let him out of the basement. That's loud.
Yeah, I have heard of the Sasquatch Chronicles. I haven't had time to keep up on it, though.
Hello.
Hey, Danny.
Hello.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Just enjoying the 90-degree weather.
Yeah.
No kidding.
We're in the
man.
studio. We have an air conditioner was actually put in here, but it didn't get turned on enough time to cool down this place. So.
All your makeup's gonna run by the end of the show,
dude.
It will look like we're crying.
Yeah,
we're crying because we know you're only going to last a couple of minutes.
Right. And he's talking about tomorrow, folks. We're shooting the TV show tomorrow, so not right now. We don't have.
You wear makeup.
We don't have makeup right now. Shut up.
Yes, I do. No, I'm just kidding.
So, all right. Okay, there's Haiti Hollis. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's give the Squatch report for today, Mister.
All right.
You suck.
You got the first picture up?
Yeah, so Keith told us you have a short report.
I forgot to download his pictures and Heidi's pictures.
Oh, that's good.
Rookie.
Don't I suck? Well, cause that was what we were trying. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Well, everybody, go to Art Bell. Because Art Bell, you only sent how many pictures?
4.
Okay. Go to Art Bell, guys.
These stories are all visual. So.
Okay. So you can go to Art. Okay, so you can go to Art Bell right now, artbell.com and paranormalcentral.net. I know I suck. And you can go and visually look on his on there right now. It has a link for those pictures. Sorry,
you might be able to open them up while he's talking about it and download them.
Okay, well let's try that.
You could try.
And then what happens
And if the whole show.
If it crashes, then we just have 2 shows again.
No, I hate that. Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Go picture number 1.
Right.
Go for it.
The first one is from geeksnack.com, and it's from January 29th, and it's night vision contact lenses that they're working on to help you see in the dark. And these were made by University of Michigan researchers, and they've created a super thin material which can detect infrared light. And it's a material that's called graphene. And it's a single layer of carbon atoms that can see the infrared spectrum. So it's a new way to detect light. And they envision these people adopting.
You've got mail.
For different materials and devices. So if you have glasses like Google Glass, maybe you can see in the dark with those too. They're trying to think of different devices that they could put these on, as well as the contact lenses. So. They want to have any kind of wearable electronics to expand your vision. With the current devices for night vision, they require a built-in cooling system in order for them to work properly. But these night vision contact lenses, they can work at room temperature, so you don't have to worry about that. And it'd be useful for Bigfooting in the dark.
You know that, like, wasn't it like the Roswell crash? What was that guy's name? The Colonel.
Yeah.
And he said
Corso?
Yeah, and they took the lenses out of the alien eyes.
That's exactly the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, yeah.
It's finally here.
Wow. So we can, like, I wonder if they can make them look like dragon or, you know, like monster-looking eyes. And that way we could scare the
They peeled off the eyes. It looked like black eyes, but it was actually like a cover for their eyes, and it was either glasses or night vision or some kind of thermal imager on their eyes. So this is probably the technology. Finally figured out how to do it.
Yeah, like 50 years or 60 years
That's
later.
kind of crazy. But it'd help you, not only for Bigfooting, but if you're going in a cave searching for them, you can wear these. And if you had dark places, like sometimes the forest gets really dark, you can pop these on even during the day. Pop these on. I wish they could come with thermal imaging on them, too. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, man.
And I'd hope they make these in like the wraparound glasses instead of contact lenses, because I don't know if I'd be able to put anything on my eyes.
Delay. Hold on.
Well, okay, I got the pictures up. I was able to do it while you were talking.
I knew
I
you
am
could.
good.
See? Yeah.
I'm good.
That'd be pretty cool if they can make something other than contact lenses.
Yeah, that would be.
I think I'd have a hard time putting those in.
Yeah, like the motorcycle helmets, you know, that have the flip down visor.
Yeah.
Have you seen those? That would what we need, like a hat that has a flip down visor that just pops down off the bill and goes dunk right in front of your eyes.
Then we could look at like those guys at the Comic-Con thing with wearing the helmets with the dark visors.
Yeah.
They probably had all kinds of information in front of them.
Well, they could
see
did,
us.
but, you know, they
Just
wish.
like an X-ray.
They wish they did. You know, they're pretending like it anyways, like costume play. They had me faked out.
Cool. All right. Yeah, hopefully that would be awesome. I mean that would change us Bigfooters' lives tremendously. I mean, come on, that
More
would be
stuff
awesome.
to carry.
What do you mean more time? Well, what do
More
you have?
stuff. It'd pack our trucks already. We need like 2 trucks to take all this stuff, and it's just one person.
Well, that one right there would fit in your pocket. The
Yep.
little eye things. Or you could just put them on before you go, you know.
Crash. More money.
Yeah.
More overtime.
Yeah, overtime.
Yeah, and you could just like plug in your cell phone, and it would like Bluetooth the information for your car, so it'd be like a heads-up display. Be like jamming down the road with the speed and the oil pressure and everything.
The Camaros have that heads-up display.
All right, got picture number 2 up.
All right. It's from the Sasquatch Chronicles page, the Believers page. And this is from the National Guard. A couple of National Guard troops saw something when they were out there. This was put up on March 2nd by Mark Wayland. And he was in the National Guard, and his troop was activated in 2003, 2004. And he was sent to Central Arkansas to guard a key military installation. And he got there in May of 2003, and they had a small acreage of land to cover. And what they would do is they'd clear all the traffic coming in from the gates and do search and seizures and stuff. And they had an observation post. Each person from their group had an observation post in this small acreage that they had, and they were all about 300 to 400 yards apart. And some were towers and some were bunkers, and they were each assigned to them a 24-hour shift. Or they had groups, 3 groups that would do 28 hours, and they would be covered 24 hours a day, just for security reasons. And nothing happened there until about February of 2004, when they were in their observation posts. All the shifts in their group started reporting a skunky smell, this kind of musty, sweaty smell. And the smell persisted for that first week, and it was getting stronger. And then they started feeling like they were being watched. And it was their turn to go on the night shift. There's 2 guys, is Mark and his buddy, and then the smell had now been going on for like 2 weeks. And they're at 2:30 in the morning. There was 2 guys in there, so one was sleeping and one was awake. And he said all of a sudden at 2:30, all the bugs, the frogs, everything went silent. It was completely quiet, so he started looking out the windows to see what was going on. and about 80 yards away you can see movement, and you can see it pretty well because there was a light with a pole with a light on it, and it lit up the area pretty well, so he could see it about 80 yards away. It's moving from his left to his right, and it seemed to be walking around. At first he thought it was a local that was walking around, so he's keeping an eye on him. Then he decided to grab his weapon because it has a night vision scope on it, so he lifted up the scope, and when he could see it through his scope, he knew exactly what it was, and he said he was staring at a Bigfoot.
Oh, cool.
He said he got sick to his stomach. He never took his eyes off of it, and he called to wake up his buddy, and his buddy jumped straight up, hearing the excitement in his voice, and he said it was walking slowly, and it was like it was stalking something, so he kind of put the scope ahead of it a little bit to see if there's anything there. He didn't see anything, so he put it back on the Bigfoot. He said it was walking with bent knees, and it was reaching up to move limbs out of its way as it was ducking under the limbs. And he said it would last about 20 to 30 seconds, and they both stood there shaking. They didn't know what the heck they were looking at. You know, they knew exactly what they were looking at, but they couldn't believe it. And they had ammo for their M4 and 1,000 rounds for their SAW weapon, SAW, and they still didn't feel safe. And they knew that they couldn't report it because they would be crazy.
Now, by them reporting out of their jurisdiction, don't you think they're going to get in trouble?
Yeah, that's why they didn't say anything to their commanders or anything. They just kept quiet. They didn't say. The only person they told was the next shift coming in, and they thought they were crazy.
Right.
So, but they did go out there when the sunrise came up. They were both scared out of their mind. They waited for sunrise, and then when the sun came up, they went out there looking for footprints. Went out to where exactly the area was. They did find depressions in the ground, and each footstep was about 5 to 6 feet apart. And they found the limbs where the exact path where it walked through, and where he was standing, he couldn't reach the limbs that it was moving and ducking under. He tried reaching up to get the limbs, and he couldn't reach them. So he said this thing was huge. He doesn't know the exact height, but he said it was huge because he couldn't even duck under the branches. He couldn't even reach up and touch them. But he followed the footprints for a ways, but he was alone, and he was getting scared, so he went back.
Heck yeah.
And
you don't go out there by yourself. You don't go out there by yourself after...
Even with his rifle, they still didn't feel safe.
That's how I felt. I mean, I had a 300 Weatherby Magnum. I mean, I felt comfortable to shoot an elephant with it, but for some reason, when I was looking at the Bigfoot and all the muscles and, you know, the 10 feet tallness of him, it didn't felt like a pop gun. I knew I wasn't going to shoot it. Did you see that video? Or I think it was a video on Facebook where they were saying it you know, the things that people do when they see a Bigfoot, and they always say, like, I froze up, I was scared, I was shaking. I mean, it went through this list of things. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
No, I missed that.
I missed that one too.
Oh man, and I can't remember. They're not calling it Bigfoot. They're calling it the Indian term for it. But I mean, it was exactly what you just said those guys were doing.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, it nailed it. Almost all the Bigfoot reports, they say, I was shaking, I was afraid, you know.
So those are the key things you listen for to know that they're telling the truth.
Right.
Right.
Or, am I going to die? No.
Yeah, and he did say that because, you know, after he shot that, so he says he shot one, he was afraid, am I going to die? I mean, wow.
Yeah.
So.
The other guys started reporting strange noises, and then some reported an owl that just didn't sound right.
Wait a minute. Where have you heard that one? We have that recorded on our side here, folks.
Now, did you guys
somebody was questioning him because so well, how did this thing get onto a military base? Don't they have huge fences all the way around them? And he did say that there are tall fences around there, but most of it's just barbed wire, just a boundary fence with just barbed wire on it. You could probably step over. The picture that you have up, if you have it up.
Yep, it's up.
Is the red circle is where the bunker was, and then the arrow is where it went from left to right, the path it took.
Now kind of look at that. Isn't that a path in itself from those trees?
It looks like it one coming north-south, kind of.
Right. Oh, so that's not the path it took. It went from left to right.
They went to the left or right.
Got it.
But he said the roads. He got this picture from Google Maps, and he said some of the roads in there were put in after they left. So he didn't remember all those roads, but he blacked out the buildings and the names of the road.
That was my next question. What are those blacked out things?
Yeah, he blacked out everything, all the identifiable markers, because this is a secret base, he says.
Wow.
Ooh.
He said most people don't know this place exists, and they really don't need to know either.
It's right by Fresno.
You know what?
It's somewhere in Arkansas.
Oh, it's Arkansas?
Oh, Arkansas.
Okay. Well,
Darn.
Central Arkansas.
yeah, bummer. Right on. Okay. Is that
All right.
good for that one?
Yep.
All right, go to 3.
Next picture is from the Mysterious Universe page from March 14th. This is a Yowie hunter that says that a Yowie left a handprint on his vehicle. And this was a handprint on the rear window of his Jeep. And Jason Heel and Jason Dunn are from the J&J Yowie search group. And in April of 2014, they made news when they released a video of a young Yowie recorded in South Queensland, where they baited out with apples. They put apples in, they put their trail camera up in the trees. Sound familiar? And
Oh, wait.
got-
Up in the trees? Really?
yeah, they put the camera up in the trees
Holy
and
mackerel.
pointed down at the apples. And they got a video of a young Yowie, they say, and I put that video up on the Paranormal Central page. You can't really tell. It's kind of a grainy video. There is something. You can see the hands, but you can't exactly tell what it is.
Right.
But they're claiming it's a young Yowie. And then they do have another video where they have the handprint on the video. But they posted that one on March 9th. That one's also up on their page. But he was there at his spot to retrieve his game cameras in the pine forest, and when he came back to the truck, he noticed this huge handprint on the back window, and it had 5 fingers, and it looks like 5 long claws on it. And there were no other prints on the vehicle, and there are no prints on the ground. And what he's saying is there's no bears or animals in the eastern part of Australia that can match this kind of print. Nothing that big in there. So they had, in this area where they put the cameras in, their little spot, they have had growling, rocks thrown at them, tree branches snapped, strange smells, and the feelings of being watched and followed. So
Cool.
like he has something out there, but I don't know what would make that handprint.
Well, yeah, good question, huh?
Now,
And it's not greasy either. That's the problem I see on it too.
yeah. Yeah, usually they're kind of grimy, huh?
Yeah.
Because
Even
we've
your
seen
fingerprint,
them.
too.
We've seen them live, not
Really greasy.
not pictures. You know, did you guys get the link I sent you in Facebook in the of the mountain monsters,
Mountain monsters.
hunters?
All right, I didn't get to see that one.
Yeah, my mom was telling me about that one too.
When the
Wait, your mom?
Yeah.
Your mom
She
watches this
all
stuff?
She watches this stuff.
What
She
the
got her
hell? Man,
her
you're rubbing all this.
Everybody's getting
that's
crazy.
his researcher. But-
Yeah, I don't watch those guys. I think it's fake.
Oh, it is fake.
Well, I mean, at one point in the show, I set it so that when it was on YouTube, and I set it right when the part that I want you to see would start playing at,
Right.
and this thing jumps out of a tree, and they're calling it the Whistler or something like that. But it jumps out of the tree and it roars, and guess what the roar sounds like? Identical.
2 hours?
Yes. And it was on steroids to them because the guy with the boom mic was, like right inside where they were at.
Uh-huh.
And man, that thing roared and all my hairs stood straight. I was like, oh my God, there he is. Like, whoa.
And it's Bigfoot that they're trying to get right
Right,
here.
yeah.
Where are they at?
I think I'm not sure. I think
Somewhere down
Pennsylvania
south.
or someplace.
Down south. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, they have to be shooting blanks because I'm really surprised they haven't shot each other.
Yeah.
They just go into the forest and just start lighting it up. Every episode.
Well, they never failed to, they on this one, what was really cool at the very end, I hope everybody saw this. If you didn't, go on YouTube and look it up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's season 3, episode 1 of these monster hunter guys, and they stumbled onto what they were calling the Whistler or Bigfoot, a burial ground, and the what's his name, Trapper, the main dude, he's like, it's not a burial ground. And everybody's like, oh yeah, we should need to get out of here. And then Buck I think that's his name, goes down. He goes, I'll prove it. And he goes down and starts digging in one of the graves. Immediately, they start getting these high-pitched screams. And they have a thermal cam, and they're looking around, and there's like a dozen of these things surrounding them, screaming at him.
Oh, come on.
You know, I know, it's good TV.
Come on.
It was exciting.
Are their wives getting mad because they're digging up their plants?
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, I want to see part 2 just because it was so fun.
God,
you know?
you guys are killing me.
They shoot themselves in the foot. Boom. Ah, wow.
Now, you know what's funny?
It's owie.
What's funny last night is when that guy called back that shot the Bigfoot, I said, because they said, you know, they had their weapons and all that. I go, you want to scare them off? I go, do me a favor, go open the door right now and go offload a clip. And he did. He went out, opened the door, and all of a sudden I hear, I went, oh.
So
that's
they're not
real.
lying about that part.
That's real.
Wow.
So I'm
He
going.
didn't say what part of Pennsylvania.
He said he has 100 acres and he's in some woods. He did tell me.
Let me hold on. Let me pull up
I
the.
didn't,
Let me pull up the.
There's been a lot of reports from Pennsylvania lately.
Oh, it's on this one here. I'll as soon as I finish talking to you, I'll look it up because you know his number came up and it says where he's from.
Right.
So.
Or give him a call, see if he's still alive.
You know what?
Hey, that's a good
You know what?
idea.
We should call him that. Okay. All right. So is that it?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, one more.
Oh, one more. I just want to kick you off. There it is. D4.
One more. It's the Bigfoot Boot Camp.
Boot camp.
Yep, and this is sponsored by the Arkansas Primate Evidence Society, or APES,
Apes.
and also the Alliance of Independent Bigfoot Researchers, or AIBR.
Oh my God.
And this is going to happen on April 24th to 2015. It's in the spooky woods of Valonia, Arkansas, and it's from 5 till midnight, $10 a person, and they're going to have, you can camp out with real Bigfoot researchers and learn techniques for the year hunt. And you can be able to share stories and participate in a Bigfoot obstacle course through the woods where you can learn how to identify tree structures, footprints, hair and scat samples, learn how to take pictures out there and audio recordings, plaster casts, proper way to collect evidence, and calls and tree knocks. And at the end, you can earn a Bigfoot diploma for participating. It's family-friendly. It's an event, and the deadline to register is April 1st. And it's going to be held in conjunction with the Arkansas Bigfoot Conference on April 25th. That's from 9 to 6, and that's also $10. So if you need any more contact information, you can contact Robert at arkansasapes.com, and you can also register with him. It looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Maybe we should do something like that over here.
You imagine how
That's
many?
what I was thinking.
Can you imagine how many people would sign up for something like this?
Oh man, it would be fun though.
It would be hundreds.
I mean, we could take them to a secret location in the valley floor and do that all day.
Sure, you can go freaking camping and no, you can't camp in that locality.
No, I mean,
Get a real flare.
yeah, no, it's all day use, I think.
Yeah.
But that would be a good place to
donate
do
to a
it.
charity.
Donate
Yeah.
charity, yeah. So, all right, dude. Thank you
All
very
right.
much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Right, Danny.
All right,
We'll see you
my
tomorrow.
my next call will be from Las Vegas.
Oh man.
Oh, so you're gonna do it up there?
Yeah, I'll do it the first week. I don't know about the second week.
Okay. All right. You're gonna be up there 2
Second
weeks?
week.
Well, I'll be out there 2 weekends. The second weekend, I'll be coming back.
Oh. Oh,
man.
so the whole week. The first. Okay, gotcha.
I'll be
Gotcha.
there for 1 week.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Again.
And I'm gonna say
Just
it again.
take a lot of dollar bills with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. You suck.
Yeah, I might even go to Area 51 again
Oh.
Man.
You know what? Do that on Sunday night at this time.
at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Call
and
from
call
there.
us from there.
And in that way we'll make sure to make some phone calls and have you arrested.
All right.
Oh no! You should go to the Alien Inn.
Wow. She might close.
Oh crap!
I think she closes at 5.
Does she? Well, maybe she might stay open for you.
Might.
Well, call it, make it happen, man. You always do this. You're good in that kind of stuff. All right. Let me know what
All
happens. All right, see ya.
See ya.
Bye, Danny.
All
See
right.
you guys.
All right. Let's go ahead and call Heidi, and then that way. Oh, let me find out where that call came from last night from Pennsylvania, and I can do it because I got caller ID. And crap, it just says Pennsylvania, USA on it. PA USA. That's all it says. Rats. Sorry, guys. I would have
It's
told
kind
you.
of fun, you know. He's been getting calls, and none of them have come from California in a week, you know. Oh, well, the one lady that called and then asked, what do you think about chemtrails? Can't get a hold of her again. Weird.
Oh, but I got. Oh, never mind. I'll tell you about the other one I got. Oh, crap.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Heidi.
Hi, Heidi.
How's it going over there?
Going good.
90 degrees.
Oh, you know what? It's nice over here, too, but not that nice.
You know what?
You're
You
rubbing
suck.
it in. Okay.
Go. Tell us how you really feel, Heidi. Go ahead.
Let me think about it for a second.
Spit it out. We're on the internet. It's okay. Art Bell, get ready to mute it.
My goodness. I'm turning you guys up because it's a little low for me.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. I guess that's working. You can hear me fine now still,
Oh
right?
yeah, no
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
No problem.
Can you hear us?
Okay, cool. Mike, so how are you guys doing? I mean, are you cooking in the sun, baking in the sun, frying in the sun? Which is it?
Well,
It's frying.
we had the AC on. All that.
Yeah.
Oh, that has to be very rough. I'm having pity pains for you.
You've got mail.
I know how you really feel. Trust me.
And up there in the Arctic over there where, you have to dig your car
By the way,
out
for all those who
3
don't,
months.
for all those who don't know, Heidi's in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like
I am
that.
in Chicago. I'm dodging bullets as we speak.
Wow.
You have bulletproof
Everybody
glass,
always thinks of Chicago as just like, a death trap of some sort. So I
like
just
machine
sleep
guns,
on it.
machine guns every night and drive-bys.
Yeah, it gets a little hard to sleep at night. But
Yeah. I always think of pinstripe suits and cement shoes,
What was that?
I think of pinstripe suits and cement shoes.
Oh,
That's what comes to my mind when people say Chicago.
little mobster in you.
Yeah.
Hey, isn't Obama from
Yeah, he is.
Chicago?
Sure is.
Yeah. Might
Well,
explain
partly
why
here,
our
partly Hawaii.
might be explaining why our government is so like pinstripe suits and cement shoes.
The zoot suits, right?
Yeah.
That's funny.
My goodness.
Okay, let's go.
Funny.
I'm downloading your pictures right now. Stand by.
Stand by.
Stand by.
Awesome.
I am. Yeah.
The pictures
So
are on the
I'll
way.
just start a drum roll here and roll out a nice purple carpet for myself and get myself comfortable.
Yeah, we have the red carpet rolled out for you, but you can't see it.
People ask me, Heidi, why do you laugh so much? I'm like, because I'm having a good time with this freaking life. How about you? I get it all the time, and I'm just like, no, I'm not nervous. No, I'm just having fun, and I laugh all day long because I think that's a good way to be.
Liar.
Go figure.
Liar. Pants on
And they
fire.
always say the nervous part, huh? You're
Yeah,
laughing 'cause you're
it's like
nervous.
really, I've been doing radio forever. I've done a lot of TV. I've spoken across the country.
And you've been
let's
on,
think. What
on
else?
the
It's like-
other show like 3 times, too. Something like that.
What's that?
You've been on the other show like 3 times. Something like
Oh, that other show?
Yeah.
Ooh, multiply that by 2. It's been about 6 or
that.
7
Oh,
or
wow.
Yeah, we don't say that other show on this show. Do we?
No.
Mum's the
Uh-uh.
word. Mum's the word.
Yeah, we don't say other show, no.
No.
No,
All
I
right,
just
I
said
got
it.
picture number 1 on the screen. Go.
Okay. I guess I'll introduce myself a little bit, too. I guess for those people who don't know, I like to write lots of books. So I consider myself as someone who has been there, seen that, experienced it, freaked out, found some answers, wrote about it, got over it, and now I'm hoping to help others do the same thing and understand this crazy world of ours. If you dare, please feel free to go visit my main website, HeidiHollis.com, and I welcome anybody who's had any odd experience that they want to share here on this show to write me and send their pictures, drawings. If you've got a crayon drawing, I don't care what it is, we'll go there and we'll show it up on the screen, won't we, Jeff?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
oddadvicehh@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Okay, to this first picture. Isn't that a cool-looking UFO? I love this picture. It's one of the nicest ones that I think I've seen, but it sucks in the I guess the area of there's nothing to judge it against. It's just a blue sky.
Right.
So it's like, did somebody throw a Chinese star? I don't know.
Right.
It's a cool one.
Yep.
But this is the story that goes with that picture. This is Worcester, UK, March 8th, It just happened of this year. This is what the witness said. Just before I left to go to work, I saw a star-like light speeding across the sky, but it was not flashing and no other lights present with it. It was traveling faster than a plane, twice as fast, I would say. Then when I was driving back from work, there was a bright white light beaming down. It was about 100 yards away from me, hovering about 20 feet in the sky. It was so bright it lit up the outline underneath the object it was coming from. It was like a 3D triangular metallic ship almost floating above me. I stopped in my car to look at it in the pitch black clear sky, and it suddenly turned bright green with a flamed trail, northern lights green, and zoomed off in the opposite direction of the moon in a straight line, then totally disappeared in thin air, leaving a stream of a trail behind it. When I got home 4 miles down the road, I looked up into the sky, and there was a steam trail track just above the house coming from the direction I had left. Then looking up towards the moon, there was a steam trail in the shape of a cross X, glaring in the moonlight with tornado look across the sky and with clouds spiraling down. When my partner tried to take a photo, there was an orb floating in front of his camera. This is the story that goes with this picture. But it's odd that they're just kind of describing this 3D metallic ship among other ships that they apparently were being tackled with at different times. So, but either way, I'm like, what a beautiful looking ship.
Yeah,
I want one.
It is, you can tell it's metallic, only because of the shine. But I've seen balloons that are this shape. So it's hard to say, but that the witness is stating that he saw a chemtrail or contrail, I should say. So is it a balloon? Probably not. If they saw a contrail,
right?
So, right on.
Unless one of the other
it's really
ships
hard to
did
say
it.
because it's somebody's turning it in, reporting on it. We're happy that they're reporting on it and just saying what they've seen, but what do they benefit out of fooling people? I don't know. Maybe there's a big old reward somewhere that we don't know about. But I just thought it was a cool-looking ship if indeed this was something that took place.
Right. Cool.
So, next one.
All right. Number 2. Okay, you're on.
Photo was taken in Santa Ana, Pueblo, Mexico, on January 15th of this year. The witness said, I used an iPhone 4S and took several photos of the sky around the hotel. At no time did I see the lights objects that show up on the attached picture. In other words, this was not visible to the naked eye and only showed up when I checked the photos I had taken. It kind of has an eerie feel to me for some reason. I don't know. It's like that, the sun creeping behind the mountains. I just think it's cool. This person continues to say, I'm a licensed pilot with instrument rating and a former amateur astronomer, so I am accustomed to observing the skies and noticing details. These lights were definitely not visible to the naked eye at the time the photo was taken. The lights did not appear in any other photo either because before or after the one being attached. So I doubt this was a malfunction of the camera in my phone.
Yeah, there's no way.
How cool. I just think that's just a magnificent photo. And it kind of matches those little tiki lights that you see in the
I just read someplace that for some reason the cell phones can pick out things that the human eye cannot see.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, I don't. Were these, lights or UFOs? What I'm thinking are UFOs. Were they invisible or whatever? And the the cell phone itself picked it out, man. I mean that is very cool. Yeah. Yeah,
and I think that's a pretty cool one. Now, this next story, I just find this to be interesting. You guys have probably heard of this, and a lot of people have heard of this. This Russian governor / businessman, Kurzan Elizmatov. It's a weird name. I can't even say it. You see his picture there. And he speaks very openly about having been abducted by aliens. Have you guys heard of this guy?
What picture am I looking at here?
The Russian governor who claims he was abducted by aliens. there's a picture of a man's head.
Got it. Okay. You're on. Okay, got it. No, actually, I don't recall this at all.
Me either.
Isn't that something?
I wonder
It's
if
like
they took
this has
Putin.
happened before. It's like some of the pictures just, I don't know why they don't all get to you. It's really bizarre to me. But, oh, there he is. Ta-da. That is the Russian governor / businessman Kurzan Limonov. Limonov? I don't know. But this is what he states. And I also, on our Bill's website, I put the link to the YouTube video of him discussing openly about his experience. And this is what he states. The governor of the Russian Republic of Kalmyki is a very well-known political figure. He's a multimillionaire businessman, a Buddhist leader, and head of the World Chess Federation. I think that's important somehow. He does not fit the description of the so-called usual alien abductees, I guess most people would say. But he claims he was abducted by aliens from his apartment where he lived in Moscow on September 18th, 1997. He described the aliens as looking very similar to human beings, but they were wearing yellow spacesuits. I don't know if yellow is the choice that aliens should wear, but he claims that an alien spaceship, which looked like a semi-transparent half tube, that's bizarre, landed on his apartment balcony and took him on the ship and then delivered him to a star where he was given a yellow spaceship, a space suit to match them. And he went on to explain that he spoke to the aliens telepathically as they communicated to him why they were there and what was the reality of their existence. And he claims that the aliens told him that they were not ready to show themselves to the rest of the world yet, but they didn't explain why. But he says he thinks that chess, the game of chess, here this guy is really into chess because he's the head of the World Chess Federation. He thinks that the game of chess came from outer space because the rules of chess are the exact same from one end of the globe to the other. I don't understand his reasoning for this, but he's kind of brief to say, yeah, the aliens took me, but he doesn't have a whole lot to share from what I saw in all the videos where he discusses it. Which is odd to me. He wants to let people know that these darn aliens are out there, but it's almost like he carries a secret about what they told him, what he saw. And I mean, he went to a freaking star. How do you not describe what the star looked like? You know? I don't get it. It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, like, did they take Putin?
Putin is missing supposedly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Maybe somebody...
I don't know why I can't hear you guys really good.
Maybe somebody took Putin.
Can you hear us now? Oh.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Okay. You know what? Okay, hold on. Let me
What was that you guys said?
No. Did you know that Putin is, for some reason, missing right now in action?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, might have something to do with that other guy that got killed, huh?
Oh, yeah. That one protester, that guy who's always...
That's like the Tupac and Biggie Smalls dispute, huh? I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Only you would know that.
Yeah.
East Coast, West Coast stuff. Who knows? My goodness. Well, I tell you this much. I'm not going to shed a tear if Putin is done for. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
No friend of mine. I don't know about you guys, but yeah. We could go...
What picture is next? What picture is next?
The next picture are these people standing in front of a waterfall.
Got it.
And there is an ominous figure next to them that I just thought was pretty cool. These next several pictures are just ghostly pictures that I spotted online that I thought were really, truly bizarre. Because I get a lot of emails from people who have experienced strange things. And this one, with that creepy dude, maybe it's a Bigfoot. I was thinking it kind of looked like that Grim Reaper looking guy, but I'm like, hold on, it looks like the spirit of Bigfoot.
Now let me tell you something. This picture here, my wife, she actually looked at that and she goes, okay, well, we went up to the Sierras with a family gathering, and it was, not family, it was us four, our two sons and her and I, And she was sitting on a rail, wooden rail, with Christian, my youngest, and I think Andrew, I'm not sure, and I was the one that took the photograph from the cell phone. And she swears there is a silhouette of a Bigfoot right behind them. I personally can't see it, but when this picture got on the internet and she saw it and she goes, that's exactly what's behind us up there.
Wow.
But see, the only problem is I can't see it. She can. She said it's right there, and I'm like, I don't see it. I just don't see it. But she's, I don't know, maybe here she comes. Here she comes.
I could see it. It looks like a predator.
What?
You have it all wrong.
What do you mean all wrong? Hold on.
It was just the two
Okay.
boys.
The two boys?
We were standing in the background.
Right.
No, we were, and it was just the two boys. That's it.
Oh, who took the picture?
I put it on self-timer.
Oh, what was I?
We were not in the picture.
Okay, well, it's pretty dang close. All right, I didn't take the picture. It was a self-timer, and it took them and her and the boys. But
No, it was just the two boys.
oh, just the two boys. Oh, it's been a while.
And
since
I remember seeing it. It looks kind of like the Predator movie, you know, like the outline of something invisible, like the Predator.
See, if you saw, I can't see it
So I think I saw that picture.
I tried to find it on my old computer.
on the old
Yeah.
computer. Okay, well, see if you can
Really
find it.
wild.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? If people go to my main website, HeidiHollis.com, and click on the Shadow People tab, it looks like what I call the head and shoulder shadow, where it looks like, you know, kind of like a man that has no neck with its head directly connected to its shoulders. So it kind of looks like a shadow person, but Bigfootish and everything else. I don't know. It's just a creepy
Yeah.
freaking.
I mean, I see the face of a Bigfoot right there. I
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Right there. I see it.
You know what?
I see it.
As I'm leaning into it, it does have like a.
Like right here.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
I'm circling it right
Why
now.
would you think Bigfoot would want in on that picture?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Oh, kids. Kids. Just like,
That's wild.
just like Cheryl just said, the thing was standing behind our two kids. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but why the mist? Was there mist?
That's a waterfall in the back, isn't
Oh,
it?
okay. So they're in the midst of the waterfall.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. They got the mist surrounding them there. So it's
So-
kind of a cool effect, but it also is a great
It's gone.
effect for a ghostly figure to be behind you.
Now
apparently.
in our case over here, when the two boys, the sun was coming down behind them, and that's how you could see the silhouette of what it was standing behind the kids.
See, in the mist, it maybe let it be an outline because it it was filling a space that mist should have been filling, right?
Exactly.
You know what? And being logical, they're outside, they're in nature. What else what would it most likely be?
I mean, I see
More of a Bigfoot.
I see a Bigfoot's face. I mean, right there. There it is. There's
Well,
his face.
it
nose.
goes along with what everybody says that the Bigfoots go invisible and stand. Like I was watching a video the other day, and the guy said that they had marbles missing from their house, kids' marbles. And they told the Bigfoot, do something to prove, that you're like dimensional or something like that. And a marble appeared right next to him and then dropped on the floor.
No way.
Yeah. And they said the Bigfoot had been disappearing and everything right in front of their eyes all week. So I don't know.
When I tell people that I saw a Bigfoot-like creature indoors, they're just like, nah. And I'm like, look, I've never seen anything like it before. It looked like Cousin It. It was just a big old hairy mess that I saw, and my friend witnessed it too. So, I mean, it has to be an interdimensional being because I watched it shimmy right out into thin air. It was the craziest thing. So I know that this is definitely possible. But I wonder if he was taking a shower and they just totally busted him, and in the middle of the
I don't know,
little
man.
waterfall. Who knows?
Who knows? But I do see a face there and a head.
Yeah,
So that's just me.
Wild. I wasn't even looking, but yeah, it does look like a face.
That's just me.
Crazy.
So,
I had a zoom
Really
in, but I
crazy.
see it
and
too.
I'm on the crack, so that's why I can see this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. Well, this I don't know if you want to flip to the next picture.
All right. And that
This one was just a little
Wh-
odd.
which one is the kids posing?
Yeah, with the kids, the
Okay.
disembodied arm.
Dum bum bum bum.
It's obviously a class picture, and everybody's goofing off, having a good old time. Everybody's pretty much standing upright, and there's a disembodied arm just hanging back there, and somebody with a good eye saw it and was like, huh? That's weird.
That's freaky.
It's very freaky. It's like, why would there be an arm sticking out of that girl's behind?
Now I didn't think about that freaky.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
You said it.
It is a weird spot for an arm to be hanging out. That's all I'm saying.
This is
But,
a G-rated show, folks. Sorry.
It's G-rated. It is. We're keeping it G-rated on Fox.
That one was on PG. Sorry, that's PG. Okay. Yeah, and you would think, okay, you have a bunch of, definitely Asian kids, but, who would, I don't know. I don't think they're doing that. I don't think they're the ones who are putting up to that hand. I don't think so. I think it's just, just
It's
a scary thing.
Weird slip
Yep.
in time right there.
Yep. All right.
It's just odd.
I like
But
chat.
I thought that was another cool, creepy one. to
I
share.
like the chat says it looks
And then
armless
this
enough.
next one,
Someone in chat said it looks armless enough.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, we have
it's
some.
crazy. This is a crazy one.
Okay.
And this next one, it's just, I see arms. I mean, it looks like, it's strange that it's got like the stripe-like pattern, but it's like, what were they going to go tickle her feet? I don't get it. It's just the weirdest looking thing. I've seen streaks when like orbs take off and they'll leave like a little trail, but this really looks like hands and arms to me. Big ones too. These aren't little. These are huge.
I definitely see them. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Spooky.
Hey, gotta mix it up. A little UFO, little ghostly stuff. This is a crazy one. Crazy. I don't know. I just thought that was weird. I think if I looked back at my photo and saw some ghost arms reaching for my feet, I think I would have a cow and like never sit on that pink couch ever again.
Yeah, or move. I would definitely move.
Crazy.
Right on.
And
what's next?
This
7.
next picture, this is a listener for the show
Ah.
who sent in this photograph that is just, it's really a touching scene when you hear what the story is behind it. Those other ones, they were just photos that were online that people had collected, different pictures of ghosts, and I'm just like, ooh, this will creep people out. But this is really, really touching. So, and this goes for the Odd Advice segment, where I invite people to send their pictures and send their stories to oddadvicehh@gmail.com. So it says, Dear Heidi, here is a picture I wanted you to see. In 2007, my father died, and myself and all my brothers are carpenters and cabinet makers. We decided to build my father's casket. As is the tradition in our community, my community is of the native Cree Nation of northern Alberta, Canada. You're always speaking of orbs. Well, look at all of the orbs around my brothers and I as we're working on this coffin. I took several pictures, and these orbs were all over the place. Now, as an elder told me that when you build something of this nature, all of the ancestors are around you to help and support you. Anyways, I always think of these photos. Please share this with Jeffrey and Alan. If you want, that's fine with me, but I'm more interested as to what you think. Love all your wonderful work. Take care, James. Whew, this is powerful. I mean, I've heard of these orbs being called ghost or spirit orbs, and if their tradition and their belief is that their ancestors are there to guide them and to, probably comfort them in such a time of grief, I am not surprised that you would catch them on film. I think that's a beautiful thing that they showed up the way that they did and stuck around so they would show up on film as you continue to clip more pictures. I mean, That's awesome. So I think it was definitely spirits. I don't like to call things that are, there to comfort a ghost, because I think spirits are something different. I think spirits are, family members, loved ones, concerned people that have crossed over. So I don't think these were ghost orbs. I think that these were definitely something of a spiritual nature that were there to, help guide your hands, which
Sure.
I think is a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
So what do you guys think of that?
I'm not gonna. I can't say either way, but it's kind of. Is it a coincidence that they're making a coffin, and all of a sudden these orbs appear? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take that into consideration, because a lot of people take photographs all the time and they don't get nothing. But here you have something that involves, family, death, a good thing, a good vibe, and then all of a sudden you have all these orbs. So it could very well be a positive thing. And like you said, ancestors and aunts and uncles and past
Right.
relatives who are watching them. And yeah, I mean, sure.
Well,
I
I
think-
take pictures.
James Bird, this is from James Bird. He's actually in the chat room saying, "Hey guys, how's it going?" So he's saying hello to you guys. He's listening in.
Right on. Hey, James. Thanks for sending the picture, dude. Appreciate it.
Well, I take
Yeah.
pictures of grandkids all the time, and if they were running around a lot, I'll have a lot of orbs, and it's when they stir the dust up,
Right.
But sometimes, like I was looking at that picture, it doesn't look like they really were.
Well,
Anybody was stirring up any dust or anything. They're kind of like,
Well, not at the moment. And I was gonna say that too, but I just, I'm sure there's saws. I mean, you have to cut that wood,
yeah,
right? You have to cut it, and there's saws and jigsaws and hand saw and drills, but because it's in a confined area, you are going to create dust.
yeah.
But at this time, I'm not going to say either way. I'm just going to say, you know what?
I got you.
That's a
You
good
know,
vibe.
if you look closely at this picture, it's orbs upon orbs upon orbs
Right.
upon orbs. Like some are really faint, and
Yeah.
they're off the screen. Like really, when you look at the ceiling, it's like it's thick with it. It's wow. It's really amazing. Kind of a neat, in-depth photo of some true spirit orbs. I know that there's that controversy that this thing about there being dust or whatever water droplets in the air. I don't know, but I like to go with what a person gut tells them.
Right.
And this was a project of love. That's for sure, and
Yes.
there was a lot of emotion that went into
Right.
this project. So I think that more than likely that they were surrounded by their elders and
Sure.
being guided.
Well,
to create
I
this
know.
casket. And I have to say, it's a beautiful looking casket. That's some handy work right
Yeah.
there.
Well, all orbs aren't created equal. I know that. Like,
All orbs.
Yeah.
Did you really just say that?
Uh-huh. Like sometimes, it could be the rainstorm and the dust, and then there's sometimes there's you don't know what they are. And that's like this one, because I don't see where they made anything. I'm always trying to debunk stuff, though, just because. It's
Well,
just my-
dust, dust, if air compressor type of deal, the dust is not going to settle for at least 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
So,
But it looks pretty clean in there.
yeah.
And they have a shop vac, and then way in the back there's a fan. I don't know if the fan's
Now,
on,
since you're talking about that, I don't see any saws, so maybe they're doing the sawing outside and then
Maybe.
bringing the stuff inside. It's hard to say. I'm just saying, it's cool picture,
Yeah, it
picture,
is.
and we do get photographs with a lot of orbs,
Mhm.
and we can't tell you what they are because we don't.
Yeah, we don't know.
No, we
Right,
don't
right.
know. We just don't. So.
I had a friend who took a lot of photos of orbs on in his home, on his property, and it just like became a hobby of his. He was just like getting so many cool pictures that it was actually kind of a distraction for him because here's everybody around the Christmas tree. Oh, there's orbs blocking people's faces and
Yeah.
whatnot. And he came down with a terrible form of cancer. It was a strangest thing, though. It was something that the doctors had never seen before. It was, he was a right-handed man, and he would take these pictures with his right hand for the most part, holding, aiming with his right hand, but holding with both hands. And the bone in his forearm started to essentially transform into cartilage instead of bone. And he literally had to get a cadaver bone to replace the bone in his arm because it was no longer bone. And they said it was the strangest thing. It was the doctors took it and they were researching it because it was a phenomenon that they had not seen before. And here, his strange habit was, taking photos of these orbs. And sadly, within a few months, his wife came down with breast cancer. So, were they on a hotbed of paranormal activity, or was it something else? It's just kind of an odd coincidence.
That is kind of that's scary too. I hate cancer. Cancer kills people.
It's hard to hear you again. I'm sorry. What was that?
I said I don't like cancer. Cancer is like one of the ones that takes our loved ones. Not a lot of people live through that one. But I do know some that have, but not a lot.
Right.
My microphone keeps sliding down, so I catch myself going down and down and down.
It's okay. For some reason, I don't know what is going on. It's like I'm losing my voice, and I'm having trouble hearing you guys. But it's all good. And Jeff, I want to thank you for sending along a couple of those numbers for the people that needed some help in regard to some of their awful hauntings, demonic possession stuff.
Right.
Holy cannoli is all I could say. I mean, wow. I did get a hold of one of the guys. The other person I kept trying to get a hold of and just wasn't successful.
Okay.
But I spoke to, this is a difficult name, Chemo.
Okay.
Chemo in Ohio. And his situation was truly something that I'm blown away by. Jeffrey, I'm curious, did you get to talk to him a little bit? This is the more recent guy.
In Columbus, Ohio, right?
Yep.
Yeah. God, I've been getting so many calls lately. We did talk for a while. Wasn't it the Ouija board thing?
It was a self-made one.
Oh, whoa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Very, very sad situation, actually. A family member of his had killed himself. And he just thought, he was having a hard time and was curious at the time of, gosh, I wonder what he was going through, that he did this. And so he made a Ouija board out of paper and said, hey, something along the lines like, if you want to live out your life through me, feel free, to share his life. I mean, kind of an interesting gesture, I guess you could say. I don't know if he had a lot of empathy for this family member, and he started feeling besieged by anxiety almost immediately, and this feeling of, and I know you guys know what this is, like not feeling love, and just like being plagued by mental illness even. And we call that being, demonically oppressed, being isolated. Like that's the first step, I guess you could say, towards getting possessed. And it was kind of a rough go at it. This kid, he was being singled out for 8 years.
Wow.
And then was so down and out, could not take it anymore, and attempted suicide, and shot himself in the head and blinded himself. He survived, of course, because I spoke to him. I don't speak to those on the other side.
Now, let me tell you, he didn't really tell me all that. I know he was blind, but I didn't know how he got blind.
Yeah, it was self-inflicted, and truly, I was really, really kind of impressed by his drive to educate himself on, he knew he was being oppressed. And he's like, they're doing this to me. I could feel it. This is what's going on. And I'm like, it sure does sound like it to me. But, there's something to be said about, his spirit. Because even as low as he felt to try to take himself out because he was being so isolated and being slammed with so many negative feelings, he survived. And he's still seeking to remedy the situation because he still feels this presence in him and around him. So, I let him know, it's now been 10 years. So this happened a couple of years ago, this incident. And I'm like, look, this thing has been, eating at you for 10 years, chipping away. It almost was successful, but not quite, because obviously he's got something more to do in this lifetime that's pretty darn huge. And I wanted to really get that message across to him, to let him know that, look, this thing is powerful, but not as powerful as the opposite side. And the opposite side saw you were in trouble and helped you out, and is still helping you out, that you sought out the guys from Paranormal Central, and we're trying to get you the help that you need. And, and I could hear it in his voice that he was like, oh, thank God, he's like, I've been trying, to do this, to do that. I'm like, well, an initiative is begun, and, I told him how to bless his home. I told him, to put his foot down with this thing and, let it know that it's not welcome. And, and to have no doubts in his actions in ridding himself. Yeah, he committed himself in a sense to this passed on soul, but, whatever was present, we don't know if it was the passed on soul. It could have been anything that was dragging its knuckles by his front yard, and jumped on at the opportunity, But, just to hopefully inspire him to, look within himself and look to the more powerful, how can I say, more powerful entity, being God, Jesus, whatever, his beliefs were. He's Christian. He's a Christian guy. And I'm like, and call upon it, because you've seen what the negative can do. So just know that the opposite is going to help you out, and it has helped you out hugely, and it's going to continue to do so. You haven't been abandoned, but just realizing that you haven't been abandoned is, a big step in it too.
Right. Well, I'm. So, what did you actually? Is he going to call you back at a later date to see how things are going? Or?
I asked him I told him the different steps that he needed to do to clear out his house, and what he needed to do to try to clear himself out as well, because this thing is dwelling within him as well as in his surroundings. And I told him, once you've done those things, shoot me an email and, let me know, if there's any questions that you have in the process that you're doing, and we'll touch base again and see what's going on. So yeah, I'm interested to see, how he's doing with it, of course,
right.
Because it's quite a story, and just, a powerful one too, quite a testament to, his job not being done here on this planet just yet.
Wow.
The dark side is chipping away, but obviously it's not working. So.
Right. Well,
hey.
Awesome. Well, that's what our, I think, part of Paranormal Central, and I would have never thought in a million years that we would be helping people, and I got a call, and I'll let you go, and I'll talk about this call that I got yesterday, and my wife was actually in the kitchen listening in, and she was like, whoa. But yeah, I think we have another road that we're supposed to take while we're doing this, Paranormal Central thing. And it's definitely helping people out, and I don't want to stop doing that, and I want to keep on. I want to talk about monsters. I want to talk about aliens and spaceships and vampires and werewolves and Bigfoots, and I want to help people in trying to get rid of the evil. That we have to teach people that there is evil out there. There's good and evil, and that's a constant battle going on Earth between good and evil. And there's a lot of people out there who don't know what to do. And matter of fact, the call I got yesterday said, he called several people, but they wanted money to help him. Oh, I'll help you, but I need so much money to help you. And then when I started talking to him, he broke down, because I actually was telling him, but I'll talk about that right now. All right, Katie, I'm gonna let you go, girl. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. And I just want to say real quick, I've been suggested so many times to make my services be a paid-for service. Like, Heidi, you can help so many people. I'm like, I'm already helping people for free. This is how it goes, people. If you're putting your heart and soul into stuff, a lot of times you put your, your time into it, and you do it because it feels good and it feels right, and it needs to be done. So I'm happy to be part of the team and helping,
Sweet.
Create even more help out there for people. So
That's
thanks
awesome.
for having me on again, you guys. I hope you have an awesome evening.
Absolutely. Thanks, Heidi. We'll talk to you
Bye,
next week.
Heidi.
Okay.
It was fun.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
It's amazing, like what you're talking about, the phone calls.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff was showing me the hotline number. It used to only ring, not so often.
Mm-hmm.
And now, since we've been doing this for a little while now, and putting it out there, and it now is like the #1 Google search on Google. You can Google, and it comes up with this hotline number. And I mean, he was showing me it's like all over the map.
Right. When I get a call on the iPhone, obviously it comes up on caller ID where they're calling from. And I showed, I'm not lying, Alan. Look, and it's matter of fact, here, let me go to it real quick.
It really speaks to that good and evil thing that you're talking about, because like the majority of them are about evil, really messing with people. I mean, like the people are in tears, they're afraid, they're crying. I mean, almost all of them. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, like, for example, Hayes, Kansas, Pennsylvania, Portland, Oregon again, Columbus, Ohio, Manhattan, Kansas, Columbus, Ohio, Palmdale, Columbus, northern Los Angeles, Washington, Deer Park, Washington, Macomb, Georgia, Jackson, Tennessee, Santa Rosa, California, North Carolina, Santa Rosa, Marion, Indiana, Missouri, Missouri.
Yeah, Michigan or
Michigan,
something.
yeah, Alhambra, California, New York, USA, Topeka, Kansas. This is Alberta, Canada. All right, New Jersey. So this is the stuff that I'm getting here. And let me tell you really quick, because James Fox is on his way. He's checking out of the hotel and coming this way. I got a call yesterday. It was late afternoon, early. Were you here yesterday?
Yeah, but I think this one was after I left.
After you left.
Yeah, it was after the Bigfoot call, right?
Yes, because I went inside and sat down, and the call came in. And he's 28 years old, and he has a 5-year-old son, and they live by themselves in a condo. And ever since they moved there, the child has been dreaming, and he's been seeing things on the corner of his eyes, the side of his eyes. And his son would tell him that it's mommy is in my dreams, mommy is in my dreams. But he told me that his mom is in prison right now. Okay. And I didn't ask him why. He just said his mom is in prison. And it looked like she's going to be there for a long time. And I just left it at that. And, he says that mommy is coming in my dreams. I know it's mommy. And he's trying to tell him, no, it's not mommy. It's not mommy. And he just has a weird feeling in that condo when they just moved into. And I don't know how long they've been there, just recently, actually. And his kid keeps waking up and screaming and having the same dream over and over again. So he calls me, and he says he's called several people, and he wants help. I mean, you can hear it in his voice. He was desperate, and he was scared out of his mind. He didn't know where to go anymore. And he said he's called several other people, but they want money to help me. And I said, no. And I basically told him, I go, first of all, do you own the property? And he goes, yes, my name is on the lease. I'm going, awesome. And I basically told him what we've been telling all these people about using the word Jesus Christ. And he, after I started telling him exactly word for word to say, he said, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps. And then he started to cry. He actually started to cry. And my wife was in the kitchen, and she stopped washing dishes, and she was looking at me. Because, when I get these calls, a lot of times she's not around to listen to them. And she felt it in my voice and the tone I was using that this was a sincere call. And I explained to him exactly what to do. And he was emotionally wrecked because he didn't know what to do anymore. And I think I relieved him a little by giving him possibly a way out of this. And he was a religious guy. He believed in God. And so I told him how to use the word Jesus Christ to get rid of this thing. So he was very thankful, and I could tell in his voice that it was comforting to hear somebody tell him what to do. And I told him, do what I just told you to do, and in a couple of days call me back and tell me if there is a change in your home. And he says, I will. So I'm hoping he will call me in a couple of days, and I'm praying that he is going to call me elated and saying, Jeff, oh my God, I
smell flowers.
That would, oh my God, if he said that, dude, I would totally jump up and just start screaming, because that's, okay.
You know what's really a trip is the people that are just cruising, through life right now, and they really don't have any problems, and it's kind of easy. I mean, everybody has problems,
right? But
whatever it is that might be negative around them isn't really threatening them, because they're not trying to escape or do something, to get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's nothing threatening their livelihood, or anything, and it's easy for them to sit back and go, oh yeah, whatever, whatever you guys talk about. But then when you get the ones that come to you and they're having night terrors, and they're seeing things, they're getting scratched on their body,
right.
And sometimes they're saying they're seeing relatives that passed away, and it never is, because as soon as you start to get rid of it, or as soon as they start questioning it, all of a sudden this relative gets mean and changes shape into something else. So it wasn't the relative to begin with; it was something else, just tricking them, trying to get their permission to stay.
Right.
And I mean, it really, I agree with you. It is so cool to help people set themselves free.
Right. And I got another call coming home from Monster Truck on Friday night. Yes, I went to Monster Truck with my son. And it was a young kid out of Washington, because I just mentioned Washington. And he said his dad brought home a Ouija board, but it was a toy that he got at Walmart.
Right.
Okay. He brought it home. He was pink. I think he said it was pink.
Yeah,
he brought it home.
One,
and then he said that
Barbie one.
Yeah. And then he said they used it, but nothing happened. And why he called me is beyond me, but he just wanted to know that what do I do? I don't know if he was asking is there why didn't it work? Or what should I do now? And I'm going, dude, first of all, you shouldn't even be playing with this. You're glad. I'm just glad that you're telling me nothing happened. I mean, and I don't know if they actually read the instructions on how to actually use it, but he said that the thing didn't move at all. It just stood there. It didn't move at all. So, did they actually, meant to I don't know, but I told them they need to get rid of it. Okay, don't even use it again. And I really stressed this on him. I said, dude, you are so lucky that thing didn't work. All right, and I told him, I get calls. The majority of my calls from people with Ouija boards from years ago, when they're kids growing up, partying with their friends, smoking the doobie in the crack house, and all of a sudden they bring out the Ouija board and they start goofing around, and boom, they open something up. It's attached to them, and it goes home and it stays with them forever.
Yeah.
Okay, and then these people have just negative things happening to them all their lives. People dying, sickness, cancer, just negativity, just through the roof. And I tell him, dude, it's because of, and I tell him, dude, did you goof with a Ouija board when you were young? Silence. And he goes, yeah. I'm like, dude. I mean, you could tell when somebody is just letting you have it with all the negativity in their life. And then I go, stop. I go, did you play with the Ouija board when you were young, and then just complete silence. You can hear a pin drop, and then it's like the person's voice is shaking. Yeah, I did. I'm all, damn, dude. So, and at that time, I turned him over to Heidi.
Yeah, also, we know a whole bunch of people like empaths. They call themselves empaths and psychics and different things like that. And then they go and try to help people for pay. Okay?
Right.
Like what Heidi was saying, they get paid to go do this thing. And usually those people are the sickest. And I don't mean like sick in the mind. I mean, they are always sick. There is always something going on, drama. I mean, they have like... Yeah, I mean, it's always constant. And you know why? Because they're the things attached to them. They bring it home with them.
Oh my God! Did everybody? Did that sound like somebody that we know? I mean, she's not listening right now. I know she's not. But we're trying to help her. But
I know
not.
some. I mean, they're all over the United States and Canada and all around. I have lots of friends, and they probably don't like what I'm saying, and I'm sorry,
But I mean, there's a reason you're constantly sick and depressed, right?
And why
Think about
everything's
it.
negative. Every time they turn around, it's bad. But I can tell you,
about it.
It's totally different for me in my world, right? Everything's going great. I mean, don't get me wrong. These things try. But only when you know how to deal with it and get rid of it, it ain't nothing but a thing. And everything's going really good in my life. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself. And I can get rid of this stuff and continue on. And it doesn't get me,
Right.
But, I mean, the only thing, like, my wife will say, well, what about your leg? You're already messed up. There's probably a reason for that. It's probably because I'm talking about what I'm talking about, and it tried to take me out once.
Right.
That's probably the reason. But, I feel for those people because I'm not sick every day and throwing up, and, I'm not seeing the doctor all the time for something new.
Right.
It's just a weird thing that follows these people.
Right. And there's a reason that they're following you. And if you need help, hopefully Heidi can help you out, or Ellen can help you out, and I can send you to the right direction. So, okay. All right. James is almost here. Last week and the week before, we were talking about all kinds of stuff. I mean, we went on a ramble. I mean, it's just... we started talking about everything. And
it was the Royal Ramble.
Oh, my God. So, I was telling you guys about, the statue of the long legs and where I got it, and the garage that on the side of the garage that had the shelving with all those pictures. Let me get my glasses on because I'm frickin'.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I wasn't lying. There you go. Okay. This is what we saw on the side of the garage, and there was quite a bit of them there. So I forgot. Again, when we talk about this stuff, it's out of the cuff. I mean, it's like, we weren't planning on showing the ruins and talking about all this last week. It's just because we were on a roll. We wanted to tell you because it was so cool. And then I go back to my phone, and I'm going, holy smokes, I forgot I took this picture. So that's why I'm bringing it out now, because I'm showing you the photograph that I talked about last week.
And it shows like 3 or 4 of those things.
Yeah. Now, I don't have the book with me, but I have Stan Bitter's. I purchased his book with all of the. And did I have it there?
I saw it earlier.
No, I think I placed it probably over there someplace.
What's kind of cool is James Fox is coming tonight,
right?
And it was his producer for Chasing UFOs that we went out there, and that guy was like knew all about us,
right?
And I mean he knew when we got in the car after talking to him.
Let's find out from James if Shane actually
ask him
what was going on. Yeah, because you guys have to understand, when they were down here filming, obviously I didn't get to talk to him, and Alan maybe talked to him for a little bit, but they were busy. They're constantly filming, like 12-hour days, maybe even more than 16-hour days. Okay, so it's not like we got to sit down and talk with James on a one-on-one to see how things were going. they're constant. They got schedules. I mean, man, they got to go from one spot to the next spot, and then they're gone to the next case, and then we don't see them ever.
It was like the like Shane. She rolled in like 2 weeks before they show up. Before the crew and the cast and everybody, and it's kind of a little bit pressed. You're running around and looking for shooting places and getting permits and sending pictures back to their main office to see if they're looking at it and they're saying, nah, that ain't gonna work, go find a different place.
Right.
Or yeah, that'll work, get the permit. And then finally everything's all set, and the very next day all hell breaks loose. That's what they call it wheels up. They say be here at 5 a.m. in the morning, and wheels up at 7, and so 5 a.m. You're packing cameras and batteries and food and all this stuff to go all day until like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Right.
And then it's like everybody rolls into the hotel and they're like, okay, be back at like 6 in the morning. You're like, what? Man, that's only like 4 hours.
4 hours
and I still have to
sleep,
go home still. Drive home.
Crazy. So you only get 2 or 3 hours of sleep,
and it was like that for 2 weeks straight, like bam, bam, bam.
I don't know how you did it, dude. I do not. When I looked at you, you looked like you were on drugs, dude, smoking. Oh my god. Right now you need your rest, and back then, the way your leg was, I don't know how you did it, dude. Well, I just don't. I don't see how you didn't die in that 2 weeks.
The finding Bigfoot one, that one almost got me. And one night it was like 2 in the morning, right? And we started. It was the same company that did those guys that did the Finding Bigfoot. Only they sold it to Animal Planet instead of Nat Geo.
Right.
But you could say you worked for Nat Geo or Animal Planet, which is kind of cool. But like middle of the night, 2 in the morning, they're out, banging on trees and doing whatever they do, and then we're just sitting back at the truck trying to stay warm, and it's snowing and it's freezing, and they say you can't sit in the car and run the heater because the sound, like that we're having a problem right now. Right. The sound of the car idling will come over their microphones, and people will hear it, and then everybody's like, "Yeah, there's a car in the background," But so you're over there freezing, and then we had a little falling out kind of with them, and I didn't, but there was this problem.
Right.
And they had me standing in the snow, and I'm out there freezing, and everybody else is at least in a car, right? And next thing I know, this Suburban pulls up, and it was Bobo, and he's like, "Get in." And it was so cool. Bobo got me in the car, and it had heated seats. It was actually the cast car. I wasn't allowed to be in there, and he saved me, man. I thought the snow, me and cold do not get along, right? I was really bad way. So now Bubba's my best friend forever. He's saving me that night, from the freezing cold. But yeah, we'll talk about that with James.
Yeah, well,
about
James just got here. He's inside getting coffee right now. So
the shooting schedules are grueling, man. I don't even know how he was doing it.
Right.
Tell you the truth.
So, okay, let me tell you what happened.
The man's den.
Yeah, it is. It just needs more air conditioning.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Man, that is weird, you guys. We just, as soon as James Fox started to talk, we went down on the live stream. That crazy or what? Okay, we're back up. And, everybody missed the Jimmy Carter thing.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, on live stream. Start from the Jimmy Carter.
It's funny because you'd mentioned this, okay, going back a little bit before that, I was thinking of the Jimmy Kimmel thing.
Kimmel, right.
Should I mention that first?
Yes, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I was just thinking about it this morning, so it's funny that you mentioned it on the drive over here. I was thinking, I like the fact that Jimmy Kimmel has posed the exact identical question to two presidents, Obama and Clinton. But he doesn't seem to back it up with any good, solid information. So I wanted to arm him with some good, UFO 101 information. So I thought of, on the drive here, I should send him a copy of I Know What I Saw. It's being re-released, and for the first time ever with the quote from Steven Spielberg, which we're very excited about. which would have done a lot for I Know What I Saw 5 years ago.
Right.
It would have done a lot.
Right. Now, but didn't you
Like the lightning.
Didn't you sell it though to one of the networks?
Yes, but here's the thing. I had a guy helping me do distribution, both domestic and international, and I had the quote. I had the Steven Spielberg quote in my hands, and I remember my dad saying, "Well, look, possession is 9/10 the law. You should just use it." I said, "Well, Dad, the way I got it through Larry King, and I just didn't want to step on any toes." So I approached Marvin Levy, who's the publicist for Steven Spielberg, and I said, introduced myself and told him what I wanted was to use this quote, and he said, "Oh, we don't." He doesn't endorse films. I said, "Well, actually, I'm not actually really asking for an endorsement. I already have the quote." "You already have the quote?" He got really nervous, right? I said, "Yeah." I explained the situation. I said, "I actually have it in a letter form. I have the original, and it's very interesting, and it would do wonderful things." And Mr. Spielberg is an advocate for government disclosure on whatever they know. He's dedicated lots of his movies, as we all know, to UFO-related themes.
Yep.
And done incredibly well with that. So as a proponent for disclosure and transparency and all this stuff, you'd think that he would say, yes, sure, absolutely. Here's this little guy, this little independent guy, myself, scrambling to get the truth out.
Right.
And, it doesn't cost him anything. And it's a good film. It's not like he's endorsing stuff that can't be backed up. It's good, solid. Right.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Not making outrageous claims. And they got really nervous, and he got back to me a day or two later, and he said, "We would really prefer you not to use that quote." And so, I think he said, "We prefer you not to do it." He was very strong-worded about it, and then he said, "At this time," is what he said. At this time. So 5 years later, I contacted his office, about 5 years. And I said, "I intend to go public with the letter, and if I don't hear from you, I'll assume that's a tacit yes."
Right. So it's a go then.
It is a go.
Okay. And
so I'm going public with the letter. I've announced it a couple of times, but I'm actually putting his quote on my film. And it was funny actually, because the distributor said, "Well, that's a pretty big quote that's as high as it gets."
You got the proof.
In the entertainment industry,
right?
He's like questioning me a little bit. So I sent him the letter, and he goes, "Oh wow,
crap.
You do have the goods."
Actually, cha-ching.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he probably went,
yeah. Exactly.
Because he can use that. Oh my God! I saw all you have to mention is Steven Spielberg, James Fox, the name. Boom, it's gone. Oh, you're going to do well.
I think so. I really hope so. And I really feel that film deserves to do well. I worked incredibly hard putting that film together.
Right.
I really did risk it all. They say, prepared to risk it all.
And you know what? You're still risking it all.
His first mistake turned out to be his last.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Now,
no.
You know what? I mean, it's like us right now. I mean, you're still finding your dream. You're going after it, dude, just like we are.
Hey, man, it's always scary.
It is.
It's always scary. It's always a financial hurdle, and that sometimes you have dry spells, and you just have to stick with it. And you have to know that you have to be persistent, because that is the only thing, that will separate you from the rest.
Right.
It really is.
Quitters
It's
never
tenacity.
find out. They never find out.
No. Yeah, and my dad said something to me. This is the best advice my father ever gave me. And my father was paralyzed from the neck down with multiple sclerosis, and that son of a gun never stopped. Never stopped, and never complained. And when I was putting together the National Press Club, I kind of thought that I'd bit off a little more than I could chew. And, excuse me, I was having panic attacks about, well, for your listeners out there, I put together this panel. It's in I Know What I Saw, of high-ranking military and government officials from 7 countries, and flew them into this National Press Club to have them testify as to the validity of UFOs and put pressure on the U.S. government, blah, blah, blah. But these are very expensive things, and I'm not a man of me. I really am not. I come from very, very modest family, but I have big dreams, yeah. And so there were times when I was panicking, where am I going to get the money? Where am I going to get this? The camera? Just the list goes on and on and on. I remember my father asked me, in one of these panic moments, he's like, James, and his voice was kind of weak because he had MS. His diaphragm kind of weak. James, what's the worst case scenario? And I went, oh, this is going to happen, and this guy's not going to show up, and I don't get the money for this, and the camera crew, and this, and then, oh my God, what happened? The media pulls out. And he sat there very quietly, contemplating what I said, and he said, well, the way I see it, the worst case scenario is you never went for it.
Oh.
That is
Well,
really
that
good.
pretty much just
That's good.
Yeah, that'll tell you. Okay.
I'm gonna keep that
Right?
because there's times, that for me it's like that. Like I have this disease, and sometimes I get up and I'm like, I think this might be it. And it isn't because I don't want to
Want
do
more coffee?
anything.
I'm good.
You sure?
Oh,
Just-
yeah, positive, yeah.
Just can't hardly roll out. No wheels up today. But then once I get going, and then I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna kick my butt. I will not let this own me. And it's like wheels up, and then off I go.
My father was the same way. He got out of bed every single day, and people would say, "Why don't you just stay in bed?" He's like, "That's when you quit."
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
It's
and so-
over.
He would,
Absolutely.
He would get up and he would take these things we called gorilla showers, and then we'd get him outside and put him under the garden hose, even in the dead of winter, and he took ice cold showers.
No way.
Yeah, and that really stimulated him. I mean, you jump into a cold pool of water, or you take a really cold. You ever tried taking a really cold shower?
Yeah.
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 So that wakes you up.
I
That's
think
like
it would be like killing you.
10
and I'm like,
10 cups of coffee, right? But my dad took them every day, cold showers.
Holy mackerel. And that just
Could he even
because of
feel
the-
it, or
because
what?
of his condition?
Yeah, he just, because it really did wake him up, and
get
it
it?
really got his brain firing. So he just, and with multiple sclerosis, the hotter your body core temperature gets, the less movement, and the more you become like silly putty. You just, so yeah, he had cold suits that he would wear, designed by NASA, that were cool the body core temperature by a couple of degrees, and that would really help functionality with
Whoa.
yeah.
That's cool. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, literally and figuratively.
Wow. Yeah, cool. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about, like you're saying, your setbacks. Because what we do here, and there's a lot of other people who have shows similar to us, there are secrets the government have. That they don't want people to know what's really going on out there. All right. In your task, and by putting out the 2 documentaries and now your feature film that we're going to talk about, what type of roadblocks are you getting that people are actually physically putting them there for you not to go to the next step?
That's a really good question, because I contemplate these things quite often, and I don't want to sound paranoid, but there have been a series of occurrences that one could consider as some sort of intervention, I would say, because it's just too coincidental. But I wouldn't necessarily. I'll discuss it with you guys here, but I wouldn't necessarily, say definitively this is happening. But we had one of our investors that was, he was, pedal to the metal. This guy was really good investor. He was very, very into what we were doing, and very into pressuring and having disclosure and whatever it took. And the government came after his company and shut him down. Okay, so you could call that a coincidence, and it might very well be a coincidence, but I am highly suspicious. And then we've had a couple of other little instances happen that kind of made me raise an eyebrow. But since then, I don't want to sound paranoid, but I don't use the names, and we're very quiet about our new investor because, I don't know, man, call me paranoid, but I'm just...
No, you have to be. 'Cause you know what? We're running into the same things, and people are tripping out, and they're saying we're lying, it's coincidental. Let me tell you, man.
And we don't even talk with cell phones like around us.
Yeah.
We get an ammo box and an AM radio and put it on like noise, static, and then drop everything in there and lock the ammo box down.
Well, here's the thing, and I've said this to people in the past. If UFOs are real, if these paranormal things are real, which we know they are, the
government.
government wouldn't be doing their job not to be investigating these things, and certainly evidently keeping a lid on it. I think it's more of a question of, their fear of disclosure of things they don't know as opposed to what they know. That's my feeling. I could be wrong. That's just my personal speculation. I think that they know a lot. They know they're real. They have photographic evidence. They have all that stuff, possibly the craft and whatever.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they know where they come from, why they're here, what they're doing here. So these are questions that would arise on a massive scale if the government came forward and disclosed a little bit of what they know. So that could be. I've talked to very high-ranking military officers that have told me that's primarily the reason for keeping the lid on it. And I don't think the presidents have access to any of this stuff probably since Eisenhower or that's just my personal.
Well, I think you hit it on the head, and I'm going to tell you why. I have the 24-hour hotline that I've had now going on 14 years. All right, it is, and I don't want to say coincidental, but when for 5 years ago, we used to have UFO sightings off the freaking hook here in Fresno. It was Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and freaking Sunday nights. You can plan it, and the phone calls would come in on this thing. And people would tell me Southeast Fresno, whatever. And then surely after I hang up the phone, helicopters. Okay? I believe that they're, like you said, they don't know. They don't know when these things are going to appear, where they're at. And they are wanting people to let them know. And I think they're kind of listening in on us as well.
This is really... Yeah, let me just tell you something. You just triggered a memory of something that I really need to share here, and this is very interesting. I met with a physicist recently, and this guy oozes more credibility and he's just, if you think of one of the top physicists at a very reputable university in the state of California, who's been an advocate for further scientific research into UFOs. Then you could probably figure out who this guy is, but out of respect to the guy, I can't release his name. But he's getting on in years, and we met face to face recently. And he gave me some evidence that he's had over the years, and he said, I didn't want to die with this, but he said, you need to make me a promise. And I said, sure. What is that? He said, you have to promise me you'll never talk about this evidence, where it is, what it is, or any of this stuff over the telephone, over email, over texting, or anything. And I said, okay, well, why? What leads you to believe? He said, trust me, he said, whoever they are, they're listening, they're paying attention, they're scanning for this type of thing. And he gave me 2 examples, and I swear on my father's grave, I put my father in the ground 2 years ago that this was said to me. He said one was he was having some analysis work done at a lab, and 2 men in suits showed up and took the stuff. It's gone. Okay. The other case that really alarmed him, which is fairly recently, his bank manager called and said that the bank vault had been opened. I swear to you, I'm not lying to you guys right now. His bank vault had been opened. The contents were emptied. Okay. And the bank manager had no idea how this had happened. So he said to me, as protocol, do not talk about this, do not talk about the whereabouts, do not talk about, all of the above, face-to-face only. And so I made him that promise, and I've done just that. So nobody knows where any of this stuff is.
So you have the evidence
I do.
Question.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Is it killer?
It's potentially pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do with it?
Exactly what he told me to do with it.
Which is?
Have it,
analyzed,
yes,
and taken care of.
all that stuff.
But we won't tell us until we're off of here and all cell phones are locked on box.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm not trying to.
I don't think he's going to tell anybody.
I'm not trying to sound paranoid, but this is the promise that I made him, and he's not the kind of guy who, he's a very solid, grounded, intellectual.
With that in mind,
scientist.
now, with that evidence
yeah, sorry. There's so many other cases that I can tell you about.
Oh my God! Okay, no, I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk. Then go ahead, continue.
No, I was just going to say when I was in South America not too long ago doing the Varginha case, the track down, and that was a whole story, just trying to get these witnesses to come forward. Everybody thinks, oh, they're out there trying to get the limelight, and these witnesses are coming forward. You have no idea how hard it is for me to get these witnesses to come forward. The better the witness, the more difficult it is to get them to come forward.
Sure.
I promise you.
Sure.
Same here. We can't get them.
Oh my
they
gosh!
won't even call in.
Especially with military.
The real ones.
The real ones. Thank you. Yes. So I got to these. I won't bore you with the details, but it took 3 trips to Brazil. I got to these primary witnesses. They were girls, I think 14, 16, and 21 at the time, during the actual sighting or the encounter, and I got to meet their mother. And the mother was this sweet, woman. Salt of the earth, just that whatever she's saying is absolute God's word, the truth. You know what I mean? There's not a shadow of doubt in anyone's mind when you listen to her speak.
Right.
She said that 3 men in suits came to her house, and everything copacetic, y'all.
Yeah.
It looked like it stopped again. It won't play on here.
So anyway, that 3 men in suits showed up at her house. I have this all on camera, and 2 of which were foreigners. 2 which were foreigners. 1 was a translator, and they had a briefcase full of American dollars that they opened up and said that this briefcase could be yours to get your daughters to go forward publicly to the media, say they were lying, say they saw something that they didn't see, and they could move to a different location, they could live happily ever after, this thing. And they showed up in a black car, in black suits, at her house, and she showed me the exact door they came through and everything. And so there's,
something's up.
These examples go on. I mean, I could tell you from the Rendlesham Forest case in England. Deputy base commander had, again, an unknown agency show up. Agency showed up in Tehran, Iran, after the 1976 UFO encounter with General Parviz Jafari, with General de Brouwer in Belgium. Again, showing up, making inquiries, trying to get access to some of the evidence. This is happening all over the world. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And it's unbelievable that they're getting away with it, And I know it because I'm there talking to the witnesses. This is not something I read out of a book.
Right. I mean, Mom told you, hey, some guy showed up with the money.
Well, you hear this time and time and time and time again. And then I'm in Stephenville hanging out with Ricky Sorrells, who's one of the most incredible witnesses I've ever met.
Police officer?
Not the police officer. He was the deer hunter.
The deer hunter.
He stood under the UFO.
Oh, I remember that guy.
Oh, man, he's the best, one of the best witnesses I've ever met.
He said he could have shot it.
He could have shot it, yes.
He could have shot it.
Yeah, he's exactly.
But only, what are you going to do? It shoots back.
He looked at the metal on
Yeah.
through the scope of his rifle. He was observing the metal of the object hovering right above him.
Right.
But anyway, he was getting harassed by the local Air Force base, and he said, "Stop flying your helicopters over my house." They were lighting his place up at 3:00 in the morning with helicopters, waking up the whole family, dogs barking. I know, I was there, and I wasn't there the night the helicopters. I was there the next day or two. He was terrified, and he's a big tough Texan man, like living off the grid kind of guy, really cool. And he said, "Stop flying your helicopters over my property," and the military's response was, "You stop talking about what you saw." So it took me 6 months to get him to come forward. To get him to come forward on camera, he wouldn't do it. He told me the story off camera, and then I said, "Look, man, this is the best story I've ever heard, one of the best. Please, if you ever change your mind, please,
Right.
And 6 months later, I got a call, and I jumped on the plane, and I flew out to Stephenville, and I put him on camera. I think it's one of the best testimonies I've ever seen.
I think it is, too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, he's a real guy. I mean, and most people, I think I saw this UFO was between the trees and this little light moved around. No, this guy stood under a UFO that was so big that he couldn't see the edges in any direction.
Right.
So do you think it was ours?
No, I doubt it. No? I don't think so.
See, I actually
What, something
think
that big? Something that big?
I think you
I'm
guys
just
got
asking.
sabotaged.
I mean, I'm just asking.
I think that show that we did when you guys came here.
Yeah.
I think that got totally
Oh gosh,
discombobulated,
yeah.
sabotaged.
Yeah.
All right,
I got an inside look on that whole thing, so that was interesting.
Well, let's talk about that then. Can you?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, right? You have no connection now to that.
No,
show?
I can totally talk
You're good.
about it, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think it was totally sabotaged from the gate.
Well, apparently, National Geographic has a diabolical reputation for this UFO-related material, and I was sending copies of I Know What I Saw to some of the execs with the hopes that they'd watch it, because we had a golden opportunity, you guys. We really
Right.
did. And I understand that things need to be entertaining. I get that. And we're
Yeah.
targeting a smaller, younger audience. Cool. I get that. But if we could have had, some good, solid grains of information, and sprinkled in with entertainment, then as far as I was concerned,
solid for every age group.
yeah,
not just
I-
young guys.
but it could be entertaining, funny, and also really, educational. And I thought it was and have millions of dollars at your disposal.
Right.
Can you imagine? So it was a wonderful opportunity. But at the end of the day, they were far more interested in poking around at night with flashlights and not really getting anything substantial. I mean, the amount of material that ended up on the edit room floor, and I was completely cut out the loop, man. I couldn't even go in the editing room. They wouldn't let me in.
Now, why is that though? I mean,
Because they probably knew they were hacking it to bits, and I would have screamed, hoot, and yelled.
but all that evidence. I mean,
Well, look. Okay. The execs at these cable stations really don't give a hoot.
it's all about ratings.
It's all about ratings. They don't give a flying rat's ass about, first of all, I don't think they even believe in UFOs. I'm probably sure they don't, So to them, it's all a bunch of hogwash. To them,
Right.
It's all about ratings. I don't necessarily think it's a huge conspiracy like the government's telling them to discredit the whole thing. I think it was just, they just discredited themselves.
Uh-huh.
They don't believe it's true. And, but the interesting thing is that we gave them, I worked so hard, tirelessly, to give them good content, man. You have no idea. And the photographer that was David West, who was incredible.
He's phenomenal,
he's
man.
the best.
I
man.
love that guy.
Love that guy too. We've been working together on this new project, so
Really?
that was the best thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
And hang with you guys too. But him and I were lamenting over a beer a year or so ago. We were actually in Brazil. He's the photography that he used in that techniques and stuff that he used on National
Yeah.
Geographic. He's been using for 701, which is kind of cool. Yeah, he's really
my
good.
gosh.
Man,
But anyway,
you just
he
can't
was
let
saying
him get around ducks or nothing.
he was
yeah.
he was saying that God, James, all the good material that we got that just never saw the light of day. And I said, David, I know, man. I believe it breaks my heart. It really does.
Well, now since you have or you know about all that great evidence, I mean,
Oh yeah, well here's the thing. Yeah, no. In a lot of ways, I learned a lot. I made some great connections. I've cultivated my own skills, with editing and shooting. Like now, I have my own really high-end camera, and I've spent the last year while I've been raising my son. I've been practicing shooting commercials and shooting headshots and doing little PSAs because I've wanted to really learn how to use this new gear that I have. And working with this guy David West, who's a phenomenal cinematographer and videographer.
I think he's like the most famous one in the world.
Oh, he's amazing. I don't know if anyone ever saw that Ice Cube video. Today was a good day. Anybody hear that one? It's a really famous 1980s something. It came out, and it was before. Yeah. Anyway,
so he shot it, or
he shot it.
did
Yeah,
he?
yeah. It's called Today
Amongst
is a Good
other-
Day. I think it was like the late 80s or maybe early 90s. It's pretty big. But anyway, so we're bringing a lot of that, which I have learned from my involvement with National Geographic, and also my establishing a good rapport with this incredibly proficient cameraman. You know what I mean? And integrating that into 701, because I feel like one of the limitations with I Know What I Saw, I know this is because I almost sold it to Lionsgate for, I would have been a millionaire. Okay. Well, let's not even, because I'm not doing this to become a millionaire, but it
Right.
would have been nice, okay, because I'm doing it anyway.
Right.
But Lionsgate, the distribution for Lionsgate for I Know What I Saw would have been phenomenal. Can you imagine?
But would they cut it all up and make it not
No, they were
yours?
gonna. No, they loved it just as
Oh.
it was. But the problem was that the production values were not up to par, and so they took a pass on it, which just broke my heart, because the head of Lionsgate loved it, and then he passed it to the technical guys, and they just chewed it up and said, "Oh, this is too," and and
What can you do with
what
the
can you-
budget?
I know.
You
I know.
know?
That's why I'm getting my my own gear and hiring. We're not making that same mistake twice. You look at the production value with 701, and it's top notch, man. We're shooting on
Now,
C300.
701. People are going, what the hell is 701?
701 is the number that symbolizes what this film represents, and that is there were the United States Air Force investigated UFOs from 1947 to 1969. 12,618 cases were investigated, out of which 701 remained to this day unexplained. And that's not necessarily because of a lack of data. They just remained unexplained, like the Socorro incident, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's 701. So it's symbolic of that core 5 or 10% of UFO cases that defy a prosaic explanation.
Okay, so you are filming a motion picture
Yes.
of UFOs sightings.
Yes. I mean, we're doing. It's interesting actually because I'm involved with a much larger kind of crew, and it's a feature film, and then it's a hybrid feature documentary, and then we're doing 4 documentaries to write on the coattails after the film's released. But it moves a lot slower. When I'm doing my own production, like with Out of the Blue or I Know What I Saw, even with a small budget, I could keep the wheels turning. But with a production like this, because we have like CAA behind us, which is Tracy Torme's, we're top agency,
creative artist,
the same agency that represents Steven Spielberg, because we have them. Tracy, in order to get the Writers Guild and CAA on board, Tracy needs $250,000 just to write the script up front, just to write the script. So we're in my view, normally the way I would operate, if I needed a script, I'd write the dang script. I don't need $250,000 to write a script.
Right.
I'll sell the script and pay myself when the script sells because it's my movie. What do I care? But to get the support of CA, which we really do need to have, and all this stuff, so we've had to raise, that's just not even including the lawyer's fees. That's just that, and then the additional research. So it's like before we've even shot the feature, we've gone through $1 million. It's like it's kind of crazy.
Oh my God!
But we're going for it. We're all in. So it's been tough. Like I said, our first primary investor, the government shut him down. They froze his bank accounts. I mean, it was incredible.
Now
I never spoke about it until now. Actually, but I'm not going to mention his name, by the way.
Okay, that's cool. But I mean, his company, was it a reputable company? I mean, it's like,
they closed a loophole for the type of organization that he had that's been going on for decades, and they just closed this loophole and shut him down overnight. Gone.
Maybe you shouldn't be here.
He had hundreds of employees and all this stuff. So, but well, he was doing stuff. He was kind of arrogant, I gotta say.
Yeah.
He was going after like ex-CIA guys, and he was throwing a lot of money around. I mean, a really great guy. I have nothing but respect for him, but he's new in the field. He was throwing a lot of money around, and he was not afraid at all to question the government. And he was, it was amazing, actually. You imagine a guy who's making $1 million a month gets behind you what you're doing and then starts throwing a lot of money at you, and a lot of money at the problem. Because I tell you, man, I'm quite confident that with 1/5 of the budget of the average feature film, we could educate the general public on a global level with what's really going on. And I think 701 is going to be a great film for that. I mean, Tracy Torme is, I bow down to that. That guy is very, very smart, and he's been thinking about how to put this feature film together. And it's a very complicated, to fuse a documentary with a feature film, recreations and have a fictional character and things of that nature. It's a very challenging thing, and he's been he's storyboarded the whole thing. We have the, but keep in mind that once the feature film is released, we have enough material as of almost right now, not quite, almost there, a couple more months, for four 1-hour documentaries. So we'll have a 4-hour special. Probably get the same narrator, or probably get the same, I don't know. I'm thinking about trying to get somebody really well known to host it.
Now, so this is not going to theaters then?
That will not go to theaters. The feature film will go to theaters.
Oh, so this is a totally different project then?
Same kind of concept, because, okay, so let's put it this way.
Okay.
701, the film's probably going to be, 95 minutes? Maybe a little longer,
Okay.
maybe 10 something.
but it can't tell everything. So
No, you can't. And we're going to have, we're shooting recreations, and we're shooting real life recreations.
Right.
I mean, like cinematic,
Cool.
sweeping, on location. We want the viewer to be
There.
present as though they're experiencing the encounter. We want that kind of realism. And so, but we're also bringing in real testimony and real archive footage and real evidence in the film, which is Tracy's worked out. He feels quite confidently how he's going to do that. But out of all the stuff that we've gathered, I've got 16 terabytes right now of material that we've shot from all over the world. And from all the stuff that we've gathered, we've got enough material for at least a 4-hour special documentary series, right? Wow. Television series. So you think of a 4-hour, super high polished production, like I Know What I Saw, but really highly polished, with really good content, and 4 hours of it. So we have enough. We almost have enough material now. Not quite, but we're getting close. So we have. So 701 will come out, and hopefully people will be asking a lot of questions, because everything will be accurate. There's nothing we're all on board with the production of 701. Is everything's going to be 100% accurate. The dates, the documents, the testimony, all that stuff, the recreations, 100% accurate, even at location. So people will be curious to know a lot more about what's been going on, and that's when the 4-hour special. And I'm actually going to be editing that 4-hour special rough cut version during the production of 701 as well. So hopefully there won't be a lot of rollout time between when both of them are rolled out,
Wow.
So that's our
You're
plan.
Gonna hit hard, man. You're gonna hit hard.
Yeah. So we've had a handshake deal with a new investor, and the check hasn't cleared yet, but when it does, but it's in phases. Like we get the script will be done hopefully in the next 4 months, and then we'll be ready to shoot, and then shoot the recreations and all that stuff, and while Tracy's writing the script, I'll be traveling around and doing some follow-up interviews for the documentary side of things, and so it's quite a project.
Wow.
It's quite a project, and it's going to take a few years. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen overnight. I mean, out of the blue, it took me 7 years,
Right.
5 years, and then an additional 2 years. So, what I was saying earlier is that you can't. You got to set your sights high, and you got to just keep at it, and you got to chisel away every day,
Right.
and make it happen.
And don't give up.
No, don't give up. Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like what shocked me is like I eat up the UFO stuff, right? Like ever since I was a little kid, and we were standing out in the hotel, and I never met anybody besides just a few people that knew about everything, like just about every sighting, and then you went and met everybody too. That's what blew me away. I was like, dang, man, not only did you know about all of it, you actually talked to the actual people that were involved in it. And
That's exactly. Yeah, it's a really good point. Actually, you say that, because I'm constantly getting, especially if I go on a TV show or something, you're getting criticized or questioned.
Right.
And I say, look,
look,
I'm not an expert like someone like a Stan Friedman or something. And I don't have I'm not a walking encyclopedia of knowledge. But the cases that I do know, I didn't read about it. I actually went and met with the witnesses and talked to them about it, and met the military guys, talked to them about it. So what I do know, I really know what the beep I'm talking about.
Right.
And
You know what I mean?
And that goes for us too, because we're not just talk show hosts. We're effing investigators.
You get out there in the field and do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's why when people, give me this, I mean, I was in Phoenix, Arizona in '97, right after it happened, questioning witnesses and filming witnesses and all that stuff. I mean, I followed up that case for 10 years. I worked on that case.
Right.
And I went to Phoenix probably 10 times. So when someone says, flares, I was like, you're out of
Bite me.
You're out of your mind.
well, the thing is, see, that there was, but only
it was over the Barry Goldwater Range.
Right.
10
They
o'clock.
did that so that they could discount what really happened. That happens here.
Yeah,
that,
they're-
like
Oh, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy.
we get like somebody will call and say, "Hey, man, there's a triangle," right?
Right.
And then we'll we'll be
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Everybody will be outside, and we'll be outside, and everybody's looking, and then we missed it.
Right.
You know.
But
30 minutes later, here comes these jets. in a
Lemoore,
triangle
formation.
formation.
Triangle formations.
Only with one flashing light on each one, right? In a triangle, and they fly over a couple times,
Right.
in an hour.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody goes,
So
oh, it
everybody's,
was just jets.
It was
oh.
just jets, right?
So-
but I believe the people.
Yeah.
Of course, you
Especially
guys.
when they say the triangle was being chased by some jets and eight people saw that.
And you can't see the stars
Well,
when it went over. you
Right,
know.
yeah. It blacked out the stars, yeah.
No, it's absurd. I mean,
You know, a lot of people don't know.
Like,
You know, when you talk about the Phoenix lights, they think it was just the stupid flares over the
Right,
mountains.
yeah.
yeah.
Nobody has no clue that there was another craft coming over, and people saw that.
Well, I interviewed
Thousands of people.
I interviewed a number of people that stood directly underneath it. I'm trying to remember the mountain peak. I'll think of it as the Squaw Peak. I think they've changed the name since then. But in any case, this whole family, I mean, the son, the two daughters, and the mother. The mother was screaming at her husband to get outside. And he was on the phone. Honey, I'm on the phone. She's like, get outside. She said she didn't. She couldn't take her eyes off this thing
Right.
to run in and grab him.
Right.
Which I don't know if I would have done that. or not.
I don't think. No, I would have stood there watching it.
She did.
Screw
They
my
stood there.
husband.
So they sat there. They said this thing was flying so slowly and so low that it looked like it was going to land, and it was so huge. They said it was like a floating city. And the son, he said he got down on the front lawn and he got on his back and he looked up. He was lying down. And he looked up at this thing and he said he could see compartments in the metal of the crafts, like compartments, and it just floated right over the top of them really slowly. They said the whole sighting was about 5 minutes. But they said they thought it was coming in for a landing at the airport or something, you know,
You imagine that,
and that more people would be, you know, talking about it.
right? I mean, come on.
Can you imagine an airport the size of a city it would need to
Well,
land.
let's
Yeah,
talk
I know.
about that. Okay, something like that. Our government is pretty smart. All right, they're not going to fly a citywide freaking whatever that thing was over a populated city like Phoenix. I mean, they're not that stupid. So obviously, I don't think it was ours.
Well, unless they can cloak it, and they do it all the time
Yeah.
anyways.
Or
and
not
then
if they
something went
came-
wrong with that cloaking thing, you know, and then they're just floating
What-
along, and
okay,
then
James,
the captain goes, "Oh
What do
my
you-
God,
was
they
it
can
ours?
see
What do you
us."
think? I mean, something that big.
All the witnesses that I talked to said it couldn't have been ours.
Right, 'cause
just because
There's no way.
just too big, and the technology. They said it looked otherworldly.
Yeah,
there was
no
no question
sound.
about it when you looked at it. It was otherworldly. And I think it's really funny, actually. You're making me remember this interview I did with a guy named Trig Johnson. He was a pilot for, I think at Northwest, I think. And he was a real good guy from Arizona. He's drives a big truck, cowboy boots, good old boy. And he's not the kind of he's a grounded pilot. He's pragmatic. He's not, one of these new age kind of, and he started to say something at the end of the interview, and then he said, "Oh, forget it," And I said, "Well, no, what I want to hear it. What is it?" "Oh, I said something like this." I said, "What? What? Oh, I don't want to talk about it." You could tell he was having a really hard time,
Spit it out.
even though he experienced it himself. He knew, based on his own perception, on how people were going to react when he told them what happened. And I said, "Look, I won't. Just tell me what happened." He said that it conveyed that it's peaceful. We're here. It's peaceful. Like, we're not here to harm you.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he told me.
Yeah, you would think that how many been seen all over the world? For how long now?
Well, I
mean,
know.
if they wanted to, they could have obliviated us anytime they wanted.
Yeah.
What are they doing here? What's the purpose? I mean, obviously,
I think they've been here a long
there's
time.
got to be more than one type
Mm.
that are here. Are they working with our government or they're not?
Well, here's the thing.
Or they're running our government,
What's-
scaring the crap out
all right,
of them,
what's-
saying, "You just keep quiet, boy."
What's
No.
what's in it? What's in it for them to work with our government? I just don't buy that. I don't believe that.
Okay.
I
No,
just
I
don't.
mean,
I'm just telling you
they
my
just
thing.
tell them, don't
Yeah,
tell anybody.
well-
and
well-
what is our government going to do?
Well,
we'll
what
obliterate.
does
you.
our government have to offer them? Jack
Nothing.
diddly squat,
Yeah.
right? So
People.
I think Well, they're going to do what they want no matter what anyway.
Okay.
So,
True.
and look, again, I have to state emphatically that this is speculation. It's informed speculation,
Okay.
but this is my own personal viewpoints because I've given this a lot of thought, and I've talked to enough, people in a position to have some idea of what's going on.
Spit it out.
Yeah. So, so perhaps perhaps you have they say A, B, C, or D, or all the above. I'm thinking it could be interdimensional, interplanetary. It could be time travelers. It could be we're under some sort of observation. Why wouldn't it? Why couldn't it be all of the above? Perhaps that, they had a hand in us being here. I don't know. Maybe just say.
That's where I wanted to go. Religion.
Perhaps they've manipulated our genetics over the years. I'm not saying that's true. I just say maybe. Perhaps we're under some sort of surveillance, some sort of observation. Perhaps they're just observing us. I asked this question to Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man on the moon. I said, why don't they land and overtly make contact? And he said, James, if we traveled to a foreign planet, don't you think that we wouldn't just land in downtown? We would sit back and observe and just study them
See what
first,
they're like.
at least study them first, just to kind of see.
For how long?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know. And but we're very warlike. I mean, we have a very hostile attitude. You want to go and you want to talk about why the landing happened in Rua, Zimbabwe, with those 200 school children, 150 to 200 school children, and the contact was made. School children are innocent. They don't have any weapons. They're not judging. They weren't frightened. They were embraced these creatures, and there was a beautiful encounter. And the way these witnesses described it to me, they had 20 years to think about it, because I got to meet these witnesses after the fact, was that it was like if you're in the middle of the wilderness and you come across a pretty strange wild creature.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, they said there's that moment of curiosity where you're just observing one another in this environment, and it's almost like time stops and you have eye contact, and it's a curiosity. It's an innocent curiosity, and that's what it was like, the encounter with the school children. But we're not like that. I mean, when they come into our airspace, and every military officer I've ever talked to, we fire at these things.
Yep.
And
That's like the stupidest thing.
it's very,
man.
very hostile, and they're not showing any indications of being hostile, so why would we?
And they don't even hurt them. I mean, don't you
It's-
think that if they could fly...
How many wars are going
Yeah.
on in this world
Yeah.
right now as we speak? We're killing each other. It's so I would imagine, as an outsider, I certainly would look down and think, A, why would I want to make contact with hostile people? And B, the times when even some of these things have come into our airspace, we've taken a very hostile position against them. And I'm not just...
What do you think about abductions? Like people that get abducted?
Well, I think that
Have you talked to a lot
That's
of abduction
I
people?
I've talked to a handful. I've never done any. In actuality, 701 is my first project related to UFOs, where I actually delve into close encounters of the third kind. Because if you look at my previous works, it's only close encounter of the first and second kind. The first kind is observation of a craft. The second kind is some effect on the environment, or burned face, or a photograph, or something like this. And of course, the third kind is when you have these were phrases, as you know, were coined by
Right.
Dr. Hynek, who investigated these things for the Air Force for 22 years.
And
But
actually changed his position.
yes, absolutely did a 180.
Yeah.
But and one of the cases that made him do that was Socorro, New Mexico, the 64 case. But this is the first project where I'm actually dealing with close encounters of the third kind. It was kind of a big deal for me. If you look, I don't know if you've noticed that or not. But my
Yeah, I
previous
have.
work-
I that's why I even asked the question, because
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever
No, I know.
asked you
no,
that
and,
or talked to
and
you
nobody
about that
usually.
before.
Yeah, very few people do. But because I really felt like I needed to establish, conservatively, that hey, there's a physical phenomena. It's clearly under intelligent control, and the technology is light years advanced from anything we have here on Earth. So you through the process of elimination, can make up your own mind. If it's not us, then it's got to be somebody else. Then take it a step further, and I think we've established that pretty well with Out of the Blue, and I know what I saw. Well, if there's an intelligence behind there, then clearly there are occupants to these craft, and there are some very, very credible close encounters of the third kind that very credible, and I think there are some that are not as credible. Just that we're going to be dealing with 701 now. Could it be possible that my next production after 701 that I would consider entering into the alleged abduction phenomena? Yes, it is, and I would have to think very carefully on how I would address that, because it's a very slippery slope. And I've met some people that I truly and honestly, really wholeheartedly believe their stories and their accounts, and they're phenomenal. And I've actually spent time with Bud Hopkins and Dr. John Mack, and Bud Hopkins, excuse me, is a very, very credible researcher, very methodical, and he was doing experiments that blew my mind. I mean, one of the last times I hung out with Bud Hopkins, he was telling me about this the regression he would do with these alleged victims that would report what they see on the craft. There were symbols on the walls, and these symbols were almost identical from witnesses from all around the world, that he'd been conducting this experiment for at least a decade, maybe longer, I don't know. But he showed me the drawings, and it was just, I was gobsmacked. How on earth could they be recounting these very intricate symbols on these craft, and how there was so much resemblance? There's no way that it could have been a coincidence, you know. So there was some pretty interesting findings. I don't know if he went public with that before he died or not, but so I guess what I'm trying to say is no, I've never really extensively investigated, certainly not for any film projects, the abduction case, the alleged abduction cases, but I think that there are some very credible accounts. You know, Travis Walton, the Allagash 4, the one that happened in, I'll think of it, I think it was it Alabama, or I'll think of it in a second. But in any case, there are some very, very compelling accounts of abduction cases, and some of which, you know, recurring.
Right, yeah.
I could bore your listeners to death, you know, recounting stories that I've heard at, you know, public events where people come up to me and say, hey, you know, I really want you to know that da-da-da-da, you know, and it's like, this person's articulate, intelligent, and sane, and grounded, and they're not trying to sell their story.
They're telling the story you're going.
They're telling me the story. I'm sitting there going, my gosh, this is amazing. And then you have someone like Dr. John Mack, who's a Harvard psychiatrist. That guy is like, you know, wicked intelligent, and you know, he's going to stick his neck out and risk his entire reputation at Harvard University for if there's nothing to any of it. Right. So, you know, before one dismisses that, one has to at least review some of the more credible aspects of it. So I don't know whether did I answer your question?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. So we're still going to get more stuff out of you, basically.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on it. I mean, my goal is to.
Don't stop.
No, my goal is I've made it kind of a life's dedication. I feel like this is an incredibly significant story, and I think those who could suspend judgment and review the evidence would agree. It's worthy of a feature film. It's worthy of you know,
and one that's real. You know what I mean? Like not
total
dramatization.
No,
of,
God, I'm not interested in doing that. Believe me.
You could count on one hand, like that. That's the thing that bothers me about the whole thing. Like, unless you count cable shows, and then you don't even know what to think about that. But the credible shows where they're really trying to do, you know, put the stuff out there for you, and they're good. You know what I mean? I mean, there isn't many. I mean, and yours is like in the top 2 of those out of the 4 or 5, you know, that I could think of. I mean, I would go to those first because it was really done well. You know, I mean, like really researched, and
it's a miracle that we got those done.
Yeah,
I
believe
shy
it,
of a miracle.
You know.
I mean, wow.
You know, and here you go again.
Yeah. Well,
but
I try to step it up every
doing
time.
that at all. You know, the only thing they have now is
and you know, I think there hasn't been a motion picture about UFOs.
Yeah. Well, there was a piece.
Well, there was one, and everybody thinks it's real. It's like the Close Encounters.
Oh, Well, here's the thing. This is interesting that you say that. I managed to. Okay, I was on Larry King, and during a commercial break, I thought, my gosh, if I could say a little word. There's so many millions of viewers across the globe. This would be a golden opportunity for me to kind of get a little word out to what I'm looking for. So I said at a commercial break, Mr. King, would you mind if I, plugged my project and what I'm trying to do? And no, he said that's fine. You can do that. I wanted to ask, So I said, hey, anybody out there has got some good footage, any information, please go to my website, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, my God.
Which is great. I got all kinds of stuff. But
Yeah.
and most of it was kind of out there, but there was some very good stuff. But I got this guy who sent me an interview that he had shot professionally with Dr. Hynek in 1979. And so I've got this raw interview, which is like 2 hours long, or at least an hour. It's a great interview, fantastic interview. And it's Dr. Hynek.
Wow.
And it was shot in 79. And in it, Hynek says, well, if you don't mind me throwing my modest to the wind, or what did he say? Something like this, really kind of funny. He was tooting his own horn. He said that, a lot of the cases, including Dreyfus's burnt face, came directly out of Project Blue Book files. Those instances. The description of the beans. They even had, as you know, a cameo appearance of Dr. Hynek in Close Encounters. For those on the inside knew, that was Spielberg's kind of way of saying this. A lot of this is based on reality. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so the very person that was featured in the film and was a consultant to the production said that a lot of the cases, like the Close Encounter of the Second Kind with Richard Dreyfuss, when he puts his head out the window and his face gets burned on half side. Yeah, and
like
the
Manu,
officer.
like Manu Apparano.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Oh God, that guy's such a good witness. Right?
Yeah, man, did you ever get in talk with his grandson?
No, I don't. He's okay, right? He's still around?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, phew, you
Man,
guys
his
scared me there for a
grandson,
second.
No,
Yeah.
no.
he's like 9 years old. 9 years
He's
old.
probably a star child.
He is.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Dude.
we're sitting there talking about
My
advanced.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're like rocket science stuff.
Like
And
Yes.
like I used to be able to read like 1,280 words a minute, and
You did?
yeah, and I read all the encyclopedias and all this stuff when I was
You
a
did?
kid. Yeah.
You're kidding.
No.
he's a
Did
little
you-
he's a little brain fart.
So like I was while you guys were shooting out there in
Yeah.
the Walnut Grove thing,
Yeah.
I'm talking to the grandson,
No way.
and he's telling me, they're telling me how smart he is and everything. So I threw out like some dimensional stuff, like how many dimensions is,
Yeah.
like circles, the
Yeah.
string theory and things like that, and I'm pretty versed in it, and he was answering me.
At
And
9
then
years
it got
old.
then it got into a little bit of a fight, kind of
You're
like
kidding.
a little
Yeah.
bit of an argument, like who's going to be smarter than who. I mean, I blew him away. He's only 9, but I never met an adult ever.
Who could hang?
Yeah, I mean, I would have blew him off like in 2 seconds, like nothing, right? But only this kid, at the end, he even thought he won still.
You're kidding.
Now I was like, who, man, when he gets my age, I'm toast, right? I mean, because of the internet and all the stuff now that they have, that I'm toast, because he's going to know way more than me, because I'm a 50s kid. Or,
I'm always super envious of people that have the ability to read something once and absorb it. I mean, I have to read something 100 times. However, when I meet a witness, like I spent an evening with Travis Walton,
I want to meet that.
oh my God, let me tell you, I said to him, he was in the film Fire in the Sky for the listeners out there. I said, Travis, I'm so sorry. We're having dinner together in Snowflake, Arizona. I think it was like 2012. We were going to go out to the site the following day, which was, my God, is that a remote spot, even by today's standards. It is in the middle of nowhere. Okay, he would have been dead if they dropped him off back out where they picked him up. But I said,
so they
Travis,
wanted him alive.
yeah, they definitely wanted him alive,
Huh.
and where they landed strategically and dropped him off was the perfect place to minimize any possibility of exposure. Those guys they did it right. But anyway,
That's interesting.
I said, going back to my memory problems, reading stuff, but I closed my eyes and I said, Travis, I'm so sorry to ask you this because I know you've done it a million times, but please, I want to hear it from your mouth. Would you tell me what happened when you aborted the craft? And he said, yes, I will. So I closed my eyes, and I just recreated the story. I turned the words into visuals, so I was living exactly as he experienced it, and every detail. And that's how I memorized the Travis Walton thing. Is I didn't read it. I lived it through him.
Experience.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It was incredible.
Oh yeah.
It was an incredible case. Anyway, sorry. I've digressed here.
You can, you can start your own. How come a network has not come to you to this day and offered you a show of your own?
Well, it's
So the all of the
want to shut him up.
you
know,
have
like, hey, you want to
up
show?
here.
No.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing is that I actually did get that just happened just recently. There's a network trying to create the real life X-Files, and they contacted me, and I said, I had it on speaker, and my fiance Rebecca was in the room listening, and I said, oh, thank you so much, but I'm not interested, and hung the phone up. Hey, let me finish. And Rebecca looked at me and she said, "Honey, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm living the dream project right now. I mean, granted, we're having to raise more money, but this is what I really want to do. This is my dream right
That's
now."
a distraction.
Do you think maybe it was done on purpose?
Well, hold on. So here's the interesting thing. So then Rebecca said, "Yeah, but I mean, come on, it's a golden opportunity." And I said, "Well, do you really want me gone all the time? And I'm not going to be able to see my son." I mean, she said, "Well, you can go for like weeks at a time and come home, right?" So she said, "Well, just audition for it, So I said, "All right, So I think I sent the guy a little email back, and I said, "Hey, provide if it was going to be done this way, and I might consider it." He said, "Yeah, what would you consider?" Blah blah blah. So I auditioned for it like a week ago. So
wow,
whatever.
So an X-File.
They said they were creating the real life X-Files. That's what they told me.
The real life.
Yeah, they wouldn't give me the
Nobody could do
network. It was a big network. They didn't say, he didn't reveal the network. He just hinted as to what network it would be. So whatever, I auditioned. Who knows? But I had to be honest with you guys. That's not really my objective. My objective right now is to get 701 done. I've got 4 hours of documentaries to button up.
Right.
It's a colossal undertaking, and that is what. And once that's done, if I want to have a little fun with a TV show and my name is out there even more after this production on a bigger level, I might have some fun and do it, and I want to get the word out, and I want as many people to know what's going on as possible, because I feel like everyone has a right to know what's going on.
Yes.
It pisses me off to no end that they've made the decision that they're putting the clamps down with our taxpayer dollars, and they're denying the world this information.
Yeah.
It's unconscionable in my view.
And they'll mess with you and mess with you.
Oh,
I mean, dude,
they
we get
destroy.
messed
I mean,
with.
no question about it.
Like
they're
when
probably
we
having
were-
fun doing it. Well, look, what was that documentary that just came out that proves that the Air Force is doing this? There were the insiders doing it came forward. Come on, guys! It just came out. It's on Netflix right now.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, if I wasn't, I'm sorry. I just got over a head cold, so my nose is a little stuffy. Excuse me. And my mind is not as crisp as it should be.
Where's mine? I'm so tired.
Come on, guys! It's on Netflix right now.
Yeah.
It just came out. It's about a
And
1.5 hour
watched
piece.
it twice.
It was done
too.
by a couple of British guys, and
I haven't had time. I've been doing this.
you heard of it. You know what I'm talking about. Tracy
Yeah, 'cause
Torme is in it.
It's been all over the internet.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Facebook and
It's all
everything.
about the government representatives of the Air Force, Doty, I think, stepping in and manipulating witnesses, manipulating Linda Moulton Howe, manipulating. There was that whole thing in the question with Bob Emenegger. I mean, I tell you what. I mean, I've looked into the Emenegger and Alan Sandler story with UFOs, past, present, or future. I've done extensive research on that case, and I believe that a UFO landed at Holloman Air Force Base, which I didn't believe it before, but I do now. And coincidentally, it was right around the same time that Socorro, New Mexico case happened. Socorro, New Mexico is a stone's throw from Holloman Air Force Base.
Ain't nothing for a UFO.
Nothing at all. And it was right around that time. And then in process of, but anyway, but there's a lot of weird disinformation that was going on with the landing at Holloman. There was, cases made that President Eisenhower met with the aliens on the base, blah, blah, blah. So you start hearing those cases, you're like, well, whoa, wait a minute. This is muddy in the waters.
You did one, I can't remember, Gordon Cooper, I think.
Yes. That was Edwards Air Force Base.
Oh, okay, yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, they landed, and he was like, I looked at
The
the
film footage. That was Edwards Air Force Base. Yeah, well, you hear these stories. I mean, if they did land on a military base, of course they would have cameras.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, the Holloman Air Force Base case that was talked about and the illustrations were made in that film, UFOs Past, Present, or Future, I didn't believe it initially, but I do actually believe that it happened now. And I've actually talked to one person who saw the film footage. Not just that actually saw it. It's very strange. But he has weird ties with the CIA and that sort of thing. And I know that because I talked to Stanton Friedman, who was flown in for some PR around the time of the release of that film, and a later version of that film. And Stanton said that the check he got from the organization was a known front for the CIA. And Stanton's a credible guy. I totally believe him. And I said, well, it's interesting you should say that because I got that feeling as well during my research into the case. So I guess what I'm digressing from your listeners, but what I am trying to say is that there's clearly agencies, nameless agencies, that go out and deliberately mislead, obfuscate the whole issue. There's disinformation put out there, but at the core of that, and if you could sift through it all, there's a very, very solid evidence and wonderful cases to provide a very strong argument that we are being visited.
It's like when we were filming out there, and we were telling Shane, I don't know if she talked to you about this, but there's these vans and they're following us, right? And we're putting our phones in an ammo box, and we're doing everything we can not to tip anything off, you know what I mean? And she gets pulled over at the airport, and from that moment on, that was before you guys even touched down here, she was being followed, and she was held at gunpoint at the airport, and for a while, because she stopped at the airport and asked a question at the gate, right? And then they followed
Shane,
her.
our production person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
And then when we got out, when we had the FLIR truck and everything, and that was so cool.
Do you that white van that you guys filmed?
Yeah.
Do you think we actually put that van in the levee to come out?
No, I didn't. I never thought that.
Actually, the van is
Why would
being
I think
still
that?
seen
I don't know, because
today.
it was just freaking. Is it really? We go up to the levee to find to try to find something, Men in Blackish thing or whatever, and this freaking white van comes out of the levee.
Yeah.
It's like, are you
Remember those
effing
two
kidding
witnesses? Remember those two witnesses that said the same thing? It was a wonderful young couple. I think she just had a baby.
Oh, yeah. They saw the one where the crash, the UFO.
me? Justin and Eva.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, they had mentioned a white vehicle. I think parked across from their.
Yeah,
They saw a white vehicle too.
They hounded them for a long time. They were going in their house and moving furniture.
Look, I've got an interview with one of the earliest witnesses, not earliest, but close to that, on camera that was done in the 80s. Excuse me. It's the Trents, Paul Trent and his wife. They had the McMinnville, Oregon
I think I heard
UFO
of that one.
sighting. So they both saw the UFO in broad daylight, and they took 3 phenomenal photographs. They call them McMinnville, Oregon photographs, the Trent photographs. You can look them up on the internet and see them. But she had, in 1950, a man in suit, unmarked car, show up at her house, harass her, and then even came in on a number of occasions and very forcefully came in and ransacked her entire house looking for further evidence. And I had this little old lady on camera talking about this. And this is 1950. You had the Rex Heflin, I think was that 65 UFO over California. Those UFOs he took. He was like a road worker. His job was to identify potential dangerous, potholes or things in the road. And he had a Polaroid camera with him, so he could document what it is that the problem and then get it fixed. He took those photographs of a flying saucer. Look him up, Rex Heflin, 1965, I believe, Santa Ana, California, and
Okay, that black and white by the old wooden house.
No, it's
that
out
angle?
on the street over the road. It's the Rex Heflin. Look him up. They're great photographs.
I know.
Again,
as
broad
soon as you
daylight.
mentioned Santa Ana,
Yeah.
okay.
So, but I know this because I interviewed the woman who's now in possession of I actually got to touch them. It was incredible. Of the Rex Heflin photographs. And the woman who's in possession of those photographs, I interviewed her, and she was good friends with him. And she said that I took high-res scans of them, too, so I'm going to get those printed out. Yeah, no, I have the highest-res scans of the best photographs ever. But anyway,
Wow.
she said that there was a vehicle parked out in front of his house. This is in the 60s, and it had a purple. These are very grounded people. Again, I have to say this, but there was a white, like cake, the equivalent of a K car. I don't know what it was back in the 60s, but on the inside they said there was a glowing purple light that was glowing from the inside of the car that Rex could see. And when this thing was turned on and the car was parked out front, his radio would act funny, and there was something was going on, and that they eventually showed up at his house and said that, I believe they said they were from the NSA. I believe that's what they said. And they were there to examine the photographs, and he gave them the photographs. And those photographs disappeared for the better part of, I want to say 30 years, but I could be exaggerating, but I want to say 30 years. It was at least 20, and I think 30. And then he gets a phone call shortly before his death. Excuse me. And phone call says, check your check your mailbox. He goes out to the mailbox, and there are the photographs. They were returned 30 years later.
What?
And there was writing on one of them, on the back of them, yeah. But the interesting thing is that, the name that he gave when he was trying to contact the military was like, no, that agency doesn't exist. But somehow, some really funny way, I don't know why, but they returned the photographs to him 30 years later. Then he died, and before he died, he gave them to this woman, Anne. I don't want to reveal her last name, but I interviewed her, and so I got to, and I said, will you bring the photographs, I really wanted to see them. She was guarding them, like, don't look, go, I was like, can I won't touch the, can we touch them? I'm looking at these, and I'm saying these came within 30 feet of a flying saucer, 60 feet or whatever it was. Incredible stuff.
I haven't been that lucky yet.
But anyway, so I keep hearing these very credible cases, very, very credible cases, where there's clearly some unknown agency globally that are doing everything they can to collect the evidence and
messing with people
and threatening in sometimes very forceful ways witnesses. I could give you another example. I'll give you one right now. What the heck? Unless I'm boring you guys to death. Right.
Oh yeah, I'm bored.
Yeah. I was researching the Phoenix Lights case, and I was interviewing this woman, Frances Barwood, who was the city council woman at the time, that was on the receiving end of thousands of inquiries as to what the heck was flying over their skies of Arizona on March 13th, 1997. And so she was receiving a lot of inquiries from they were calling into the governor's office, Governor Fife Symington. And there was one in particular where this guy who was a former, he was a vet from Vietnam, and he said that one of his hobbies was, he would do filming of planets, and he listened to scanner radios so he can monitor the truckers and stuff. And he was on his roof at the time of the Hale-Bopp sighting, because remember that the UFO, one of the reasons why the UFO was seen by so many people in the state of Arizona was that the Hale-Bopp comet was out. So people were out under the night sky trying to get a glimpse of the Hale-Bopp. So he was on his roof with a camera and a tripod, and he was just listening to his radar, his radio scanner, I guess, and he was listening to the truck drivers coming up Interstate 10. And he said to Frances Barwood, hey, I started hearing these truckers talking about a UFO, and it was heading, I don't know if it was north or south, but it was coming in his direction. So I realized this UFO that all these truckers were talking about on their radios was heading my way. So I tilted my camera, and he said this object flew right over my house, and I have phenomenal footage of it. Would you like to see it? She said, yeah, I'd love to see it. So they made arrangements that he was going to drop it off the following day at her office. About a week or so go by. She doesn't get it. So he calls her up about a week later. He said, well, what did you think? She said, what do you mean, what do I think? You're supposed to drop the footage off. He said, well, I didn't have to drop the footage off because 2 men from your office showed up to pick it up. She said, well, I didn't send anybody around to your office. So this guy, we confirmed that his neighbors saw a government vehicle pull in. I know this sounds crazy. Some of your listeners are probably thinking I'm nuts, but this is really happening. I'm telling you right now, this happened. So she said, I didn't have anyone come from my office to pick this up. And what this guy said was, and I didn't include this and I know what I saw because I couldn't prove it. So as much as I wanted to put it in there, I didn't have anything. I had nothing. This film guy was gone. But they did ask him. He said that the crazy thing was this was in June, because there was an article that went nationwide. The sighting was March 13th, but in June, it could have been the 19th of June. I don't remember the exact date, but I think it was USA Today that published a front page thing on the lights over Phoenix.
And a warm
And
soda?
so it thank you. It catapulted the whole thing back into the limelight, and that's when the news went national. And so this guy contacted Francis Marwood right around the time, but he said the interesting thing was it was really hot because it was in June, and Phoenix, Arizona in June, he said it was over 100 degrees. These men showed up in black suits, and he said that it was really hot outside. He was thinking, what are these guys doing in black suits? And the only thing they asked him, he said they were quite daunting. They were quite intimidating. Was, do you have any we're here from Francis Barwood's office. Did you make any copies? And he said no. And he said, I was quite relieved. That's all they came for, quite honestly. They took the footage, and that was it. Gone. Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a few stories like that we've talked to people about, like that.
Yeah.
They have these encounters with these guys, and then they lose stuff. Like now we tell people that, because Jeff has that 24-hour hotline number, and we get calls, like off the hook all over the United States.
Well,
and we tell them, you know what? Don't tell anybody, don't text anyone, don't email anything.
Here's the thing. If you do call into you guys, you don't say, oh my God, I've got the best evidence ever. Never, ever. I'm not kidding. Do not say that. Say, I really need to meet you for coffee.
Right, that's right.
Yes.
And you guys go and have coffee face to face, and that's how you do it.
Yes.
And
You leave your cell phone in the car.
I promise you, we put out the $100,000 reward for 701. And
I remember that.
Yes, and I got a number of really great things. But one in particular that I really, really was excited about was a former military guy in Brazil.
And we have to wait for this?
In Brazil.
Okay, hold on. Before you go on, we're just about out of here, but can you stick around just a little bit more?
Yeah, I can stick around a little bit more.
Okay. All right. Art Bell, Keith, we're going to go for another 30 minutes, okay for you?
30 minutes is great.
Okay, we're going to go 30 minutes farther for you guys out there because, no, I'm not going to let him go yet. So, Keith.
As long as you guys can deal with my voice, I'm good.
Okay, and then we'll take you out to Denny's afterwards. Okay.
Sounds awesome.
Okay,
Love
all right.
it.
Okay, we're going at 30 minutes more for all you guys because I know you guys are loving this.
So all our Bell guys could go. Are they going to stay on?
Well, you know what, Keith, is it cool? We're gonna continue on. Do you want us to go ahead and leave the show, or do you want us to keep on going, Keith? And I'm waiting for his response.
Let me say one thing while we're waiting.
Yes.
I know what I saw is being featured in the Sonoma Film Festival. So if anybody's interested in going, the really cool thing about it is it's the first film festival in the nation to feature a UFO genre, which is really cool. So I really want to get the word out and hoping that many people will come to the Sonoma Film Festival, or at least tell a friend. I mean, it's nothing to come see the film.
Where's that?
It's the Sonoma Film Festival. And it's going to be on the 27th and 28th of this month of March.
Sonoma?
Sonoma is in wine country up north in the Bay Area.
That's where
you just told my wife wine country. Oh my God.
That's where you
Whoopsies.
live.
Exactly. It's like an hour away from where I live, kind of inland. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
In the wine country. Yeah. So that's going to be. And the cool thing is that excuse me, I'm going to do another.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Keith.
another radio interview on Wednesday. Excuse me. While I'll mention this as well, I really like. It's been very difficult to get UFO related stuff in mainstream, as we all know.
Yes.
And to get into a film festival. I mean, I submitted all my UFO films in film festivals, and just been categorically just not happening. So this is kind of a big deal, and I really hope that people will show up and support it, because
When is this again?
it's the 27th, 28th. It's going to be on the 28th of March. My film's on the 28th of March. I'll send you the details. Maybe
Okay.
I'll give you a whole little blurb about it, and you could talk a little bit more about it. as it's coming up.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah, we will.
Road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, you know, like the reason that you even can get that in there, and why people are more open to it now. I mean, and it started from guys like you that started a long time ago, and you just kept digging and digging and digging and putting it out there.
It really helps. I think it's really gonna help, and we'll know in the next 6 months or year. Having I was talking to my distributor, and he said, James, you have no idea. Having the Spielberg quote is like gold.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm gonna get you into every single, what's what it really means to do that film. I know what I saw. I mean, even skeptics look at it and say, there's no way you can walk away from this film thinking that they're not real. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
so it really just needs to get out there. It's always missed, in my view. It hasn't reached its potential.
No, absolutely not. It hasn't.
And I'm not talking about my son, but
No,
it feels like my son.
No, your son's
Oh
so
my
cute.
God! You guys need
Yeah.
you guys need to see a picture.
Oh my
actually.
gosh, I love that little guy.
Um,
But I was telling your listeners a story, and it's we get contacted. We put the $100,000 reward out. This is before I had my meeting with this scientist that told me to keep my pie hole shut when it came to really good evidence, and I absolutely believe this now.
Yeah.
Is that you really can't talk about it in a public way, because if you really truly are sitting on something that potentially explosive, and if UFOs are real, and of course I know they are, then clearly there's some unknown agency out there monitoring this stuff, listening, especially we've been so doggone public about it. So anyway, I get contacted by this guy who's a former military in Brazil. And mind you, I'd just gotten back from Varginha. In that case, the Varginha case, 1996.
That one's a
Wow.
bomb case, huh?
Wow.
That's good.
And I didn't believe it. Look
Oh,
up Varginha,
really?
Brazil UFO encounter to the listeners out there. I didn't believe it. It took me 3 times going there, where I'm absolutely convinced it happened.
Did
So-
you get to go to the place where it actually?
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. All up in there. Yeah, and I met all these witnesses. I was the guy that went to the town square, and and people thought I was nuts, but I said, I'm gonna find the sister of the soldier who died when he came in contact with the creature.
Oh wow.
And everyone's like, you've got a snowball's chance in hell. Well, that's all I need. But I went around. I went around to the square because no one knew where she was, and I just started asking every single person I can see. And I had brought a translator.
I was
with
going to
me.
say, how are you going to speak?
Yeah, I had a translator with me, and I didn't care how old or how young. I'm going after. I found an old man that led me to another person, that led me to another person, that led me to another. I have the whole thing on video, like driving around.
Oh my God!
And we finally
You
came
don't know
across.
if you're really going in there.
We don't
or
know
gonna
where the
get
hell I'm
mugged
going. No,
or
none of the
whatever.
above, man. And we're going around, and I had some locals with me, and then I had some non-locals. With David West was right there with me,
Oh man.
and we eventually show up, and we find her. It was insane. We find the witness, and it was an area of Brazil that you just felt like. I mean, first of all, we had a van with a bunch of gear, and we felt like we were being just eyeballs. You just feel like you're being looked at.
And
from
they
all
don't
around.
trust you.
Yeah,
right?
you just feel like, and they don't know who the hell I am, and she's been told to shut her pie hole.
Right.
Because we later found that out, because she was quite vocal. I mean, can you imagine your brother dies, and your brother's dying in the hospital after coming in contact with this creature, and the brother tells you a little something and then dies? She was just, I mean, that's her little brother, man. She was not going to have anybody tell her to stop talking. So she was very vocal about what happened. And her husband initially had his shirt off, this big guy. He had his shirt off by the door. It was really hot. and kind of a scary looking character. And he took one look at us, and he didn't want anything to do with us. You could tell in his eyes that he wanted this story to go away, and he wanted us to go away. But I said through the translator to the woman, I said, we're here to get your brother's story out. We're here to get the truth out. I'm an independent person. I'm not part of the main media, which really helps because they don't trust the media. But I said that to her because it felt like it's what I'm doing, but it felt like what I wanted to say. And she looked at me, and she could tell that I was real, and she granted me the interview against the will of her husband, who was kind of lingering in the background the whole time, just like kind of looking at us. I have that on video too. Kind of orbiting, exactly. Yeah, just kind of scary, you know. It was really weird. I tell you, when we got the interview on camera, I was expecting a convoy of cops or something to pull us over and confiscate our camera gear.
Kidding,
we had all these tapes from all these interviews. I mean, we were uncovering in this little village a story that I tell you right now the military didn't want out.
Yeah.
I had proof of it. I mean, everyone I was talking to said they told us to shut our pie holes. So you knew damn well they knew we were there, right? You knew they knew we were there.
Hell yeah.
I was asking everybody. So I just had this feeling like, Jesus, excuse me. I was backing everything up. I was taking hard drives, sending them out back to the States. I was doing everything I possibly could. I was not going to lose this material, right? I mean, the effort I went through to get all that stuff. But so anyway, so when I came home, we put out the $100,000 reward. I get contacted by a former military person, and I knew that there were photographs of these beings were taken. I knew that there were photographs apparently taken on the operating table. We had some indication that was true, but I wanted to get my fingers on these things, and I actually got contacted by a military person claiming to have what we were looking for in Brazil. And so I sent one of my translators. I said, look, you got to go to this guy. This is really important, okay? Trust me on this one.
Now, are they asking anything in return? I mean, you got to sometimes...
This guy was going to get $100,000 if he had
that's what you're talking about. Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Like, he'll risk it, man. He'll find an island.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
So here's the thing. I also got contacted by some people that said, I need $1 million to come with what I have.
Right.
Well, if you want to be able to not disappear or something, I don't know. But in any case, so I sent my friend Marco to go follow up with this guy, and they had one conversation, and it sounded like this guy really did have the goods, and then the guy went off the radar, and we were unable to ever talk to him ever again. Just gone. Okay. So
See that?
I don't know if he got a visitor or if he got a phone call or what happened.
That happens
But
to
why
us.
wouldn't this guy want his $100,000? Okay, so why is he all gung-ho?
Because they gave him $200,000.
Who knows? And there was another
Or
investigator.
they said, like, if you want to be able to spend any money at all, you will shut up right now.
There was another guy in Brazil. Again, I'm talking to you from personal experience, not from a book I read. This is all stuff that I encountered while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm trying to remember this guy's name, and I will in a second, but I heard about him through a researcher called Marco Petit, Brazilian UFO researcher. But this guy actually happened, he's a lawyer, and he had a major interest in UFOs. And he happened to live in Varginha, Brazil, when the incident happened in '96.
Dang.
And he was going after very aggressively. He was going after the case and exposing the military's lies. And then he got a large sum of money. I know this because I talked to the locals, and all of a sudden he had a new car, and he was buying a new apartment, and then he did a complete 180, and he really severed ties with the locals when he did it, because even the girls that I talked to, the primary witnesses, knew he was full of doggy doo-doo. But he just did a 180, and he clammed up and never spoke about it. And there was, another UFO investigator, quite well known, who disappeared altogether, gone, just vanished off the face of the earth. So whether this guy got paid or who knows how they do it in Brazil, but
It kind of is like the way they do it all over the world.
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
probably. I mean, so, you know, if let's just say the doctor that performed, or one of the doctors that performed the autopsy on these creatures, and clearly, you know, took a couple photographs. I mean, we didn't in '96. We didn't quite. Everyone didn't have phones in their cameras. I mean, we barely had cameras in their phones.
What if they all died?
Well,
I mean, if the cop died.
Well, the cop handled it. Yeah, you know, it's one of my regrets is that the guy that was in the driver of the car, she gave me the sister who lost her brother who handled this creature, and I say creature because I can't, you know. I don't know.
Right,
it was just a creature. I don't know what it looked like. It was like 4 feet tall and had oily brown skin and big red eyes, really big red eyes, no hair, no genitalia whatsoever as far as I could tell. And it was quite weak. And it had ridges on the forehead, like big ridges. That's the way they described it. And it was very oily and weak, feeble, not doing well. But the driver of the car, because there was two, there was Marco Chirizi, which was the soldier, and then there was a driver, and the sister knew, 'cause it's kind of a small town, knew the driver, and she said, "I need you to go find this guy. Here's his address. I need you to go get him to go on the record because he's never gone on the record about my brother." And I ran out of time, man. And I didn't get to do it, and I feel like that was a huge element, and I feel like I need to go back to Virginia again. You know? I didn't have the time, man. I was there for like, you know, I mean, I really, you
need
no
a
idea.
couple of $1 million, dude.
You know, I need to be there for a significant amount of time. I need to be there for 6 months.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and maybe even 6 months to develop the trust, and to get, you know, this is.
Aren't you afraid?
Yeah. Sometimes I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, there was
not just because in Brazil. I'm talking about afraid because
you
what
mean
you're
like
doing, man.
All the time, even here, afraid?
Yeah, I mean.
Well, you know, I only got spooked. I've gotten spooked a couple of times. And I feel like unless I had the definitive proof that I shouldn't have necessarily be afraid,
right.
I'm not like a number one witness.
Right.
So they don't have that to worry about. They can easily, you know, discredit me or whatever. But if I did come across a really significant piece of evidence, perhaps it was filmed footage from the United States Air Force taken from a number of different events over the years, or if I did get a hold of the photographic evidence of these creatures, then I would be paranoid, yes, very.
Okay.
And I wouldn't talk about it at all publicly. I'd have to figure out how to you know, get it out there in a way that's going to minimize any, you know, risking myself or anybody else, really, because they really don't want that stuff out, trust me.
No.
I know.
Those are the things they go after, and they go after very aggressively. So
we get blamed for being kind of paranoid. I mean, like,
I
know.
can prove it time and time again. Every case I've ever worked on, the better the evidence, the more intimidating. I mean, I've talked to, and at first you think, oh yeah, but then after a while you see a pattern, and you see a pattern all over the world. You're going, first of all, how is this agency able to be at a UFO incident in Peru the next day, or Tehran, or Belgium, or England, or wherever? You know, how are they, like, what do they have, like is there a white courtesy phone that someone calls these people and says, hey, you know, they're monitoring what's going on, clearly.
I actually think it's some of them. You know what I mean? And they actually they intimidate our government and every other government. And
you know, look at Stephen Schiff. You know, that terrified me, to be honest with you. That probably terrified me more than anything else, because Stephen Schiff was a congressman from New Mexico. It was, I think, 95 or 96. And I was watching, believe me, very carefully, because he was really accusing the Air Force of lying, and he was doing so quite publicly. Look up Stephen Schiff, Congressman, New Mexico. And I remember sitting on the sidelines going, oh my God, this is amazing. This guy's calling the government out. Yeah. And he's saying, you guys are sending me on a wild goose chase when you know damn well that the evidence isn't here, and you're sending me to the General Accounting Office, then back to the archives, the Air Force. Like, you're giving me the runaround. I know the runaround. And so he was saying, he was like, these guys are full of doggy doo-doo. And he goes, and why the hell would they fly a weather balloon under armed guard? You know? And he's bringing up all these key points. Sure. And I remember thinking, wow, man, this is incredible. Like, this is unbelievable what's happening. We're actually getting some traction on here, and he's demanding answers for Roswell. And this is right before the time when we had the 50th anniversary coming up in '97 for the Roswell, and it was right before that was happening. It was getting that movie had come out, Roswell. It was getting a lot of attention, man, and it was really getting some traction. And then he gets cancer and dies.
Yeah.
You know, and apparently I've talked to Don Schmidt, and Don Schmidt said that he spoke to Stephen Schiff's doctor, and Stephen Schiff's doctor had revealed that Stephen Schiff felt that he was taken out. They took him out.
Absolutely.
That's what Stephen Schiff told his doctor, apparently. I have not spoken to the doctor personally. That's what was told to me.
Now, you said he died of cancer?
He got cancer and died.
What type, you know?
You know, I don't know. But one of my things on my agenda is to contact the Schiff family and find out how they feel, and if he revealed anything to them. Mm-hmm. I need to get to Nancy Reagan. I mean, there's so much stuff to do, you guys. Like, it's just insane. You know.
We know Nancy. I'll give her a call tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, Nancy Reagan, I want to get to Bill Clinton. You know, and the problem with Bill Clinton is that, I know he's looked into UFOs, and I know he's done so quite seriously because I interviewed that guy, Webb Hubble, who wrote the book Friends in High Places. And Webb Hubble told me that Bill Clinton asked him to look into who killed JFK and are UFOs real. And he said that Bill was dead serious. And he said that they were not happy with the answers they were getting. So the president of the United States was getting the runaround.
They're not in the know at all.
And I'm also really curious too, because when I was investigating the Phoenix Lights case, I was at a cocktail party, and I'm so sorry if your listeners, my nose is stuffy. I was at a cocktail party, and this girl came up to me, and she's like, "Oh, I understand you're investigating the Phoenix Lights case." And this was like in '98 or I think '98, so it was like a year after it happened, maybe a year and a half. And I said, yeah, I'm here to find some additional witnesses and that sort of thing. She said, my boyfriend, wasn't her husband. Oh, maybe it was her husband. Her partner. I don't know if they were married or not. She said, he was at the base. And I said, the base? She said, Luke Air Force Base. He was there that night. You need to talk to him. So I came over to him, you know, and introduced myself. He was standing out on the balcony of this party, having a beer. And he just literally looked at me and didn't even say a word, man. Turned around and walked away, okay? Just, that was it. So I was like, well, you know.
That went
okay,
well.
That went well. So about an hour later, I watched him. He didn't leave the party. He drank a few more drinks, and about an hour later, he walked up to me, and he said, I was there that night, and all I can tell you is that we went to DEFCON 3. And I said, and then he said, I can't talk any more than that. And he turned around and walked away. Or keep doing what you're doing, I think is what he might have said, that it happened. And then I tried to prod a bit more, and that was it. And he just turned around and he walked away. But he said we went to DEFCON 3, and I didn't at the time know what DEFCON 3 meant. And I looked it up, and apparently it's like if you're getting invaded. And in DEFCON 3, the President of the United States is automatically notified that's the protocol. And President Clinton was in Florida, apparently, and he said he sprained his ankle in golfing or something. But, you know, I guess the president would have been swept up and taken to some unknown place. I don't know. So there's a chance that Clinton was notified of the events that went down on March 13th of 1997. And I really feel like under the right circumstances, he might reveal more. He might reveal something. Who knows?
Yeah, if he knows anything else besides what we know.
Well, I mean, not with Hillary still in the limelight. You know, that's the only thing that's going to prevent him to do that.
I know. Believe me, I know that. It's such a bummer, too, because when I met Fife Symington, who I established a great relationship with, who's the former governor of Arizona, and he actually saved Bill Clinton in a drowning incident back in college. And it's funny because he said, he said that Bill had gone swimming out off the coast in some pretty rough currents, And he had to jump in a rowboat, and he went out there and he said, well, it was pretty easy because Bill had long hair. I just reached down in the water and grabbed his long hair and threw him in the boat. Fast forward, whatever, how many years it was,
Right.
he was Governor Simonton, who's a conservative Republican, and of course Clinton is a Democrat. Governor Simonton was in some hot water over some financial numbers that he fudged to get some funds for some development project. So he was getting some heat, big heat, and he was given the second one of 2 presidential pardons. Nixon was given a presidential pardon, and Governor Simonton was given a preemptive presidential pardon. Yeah, so he's good friends with Clinton, and he said, well, I can get to Clinton for you. But then he kept saying, no, his wife's running for president. He'll never do it now.
Yeah, see,
But
now
he'd
my-
brought it up a couple of times.
My allergy medicine's running out. And this, these,
Oh,
like-
really?
Yeah.
I'm
oh,
sorry.
man.
I'm sorry if I'm congested here, guys, but
No, you're
it is
cool.
what it is.
I'm getting the same
But
way.
it's
with
so interesting.
allergies.
There's just there are so many leads and so many things to talk about.
Well, like for example, did you ever see that picture?
Yeah, that's Lawrence Rockefeller.
With
His
Clinton?
next door neighbor is his daughter is my next door neighbor.
Okay, well, with Clinton and then Clinton
Yes.
with the book.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
they,
was
they want to know.
I have the briefing document. That was written by a guy at Open Minds. Doggone it! That briefing document is so cool. It's the UFO briefing document. It was
Okay.
put together. It was funded by Lawrence Rockefeller in like '93 or when was
you
that?
would think
That
they
was-
would know. They got all the money in the world. They could buy their way into stuff.
You know what? I tried to get his daughter to put some serious money behind our film project, and she's not. She's into it, but not that into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need.
Sometimes they know something. That's why they don't. They're like,
Well,
if I do that, I'll be cut off.
Well, her father was trying to get he was trying to get Clinton to do something. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Clinton knows a lot more than what he's willing to talk about. I think that he
Same
got.
as Obama. Did you hear that?
I don't know about Obama. I don't know.
But I mean, he made it sound like a joke.
Yeah.
The way he was doing it, but then everybody's like, "Oh, it was just a joke." But really, he said a lot.
Yeah,
Even though
My
it was a
question
joke.
is, why did Jimmy say the exact same questions
Yeah.
to Clinton and to Obama? Like, was he told to do it?
if you look at it, it's like verbatim.
Yeah. It
Okay.
is, yeah.
Okay.
Because
Word
he even says, if I were president, and that'll never happen, like if I ever became president, kind of jokingly, that will never happen. I've got too much dirt on me.
Right.
He's a funny guy, actually, and yeah, it's like totally verbatim, and you wonder about that. And as I was saying earlier in the program, I'm going to actually, as soon as the film comes out, I'm going to send it out to a few key people, and I was thinking to myself, well, who do I know that would know Kimmel? But I will get that out to him. So when he has his next sit down with the president, he can ask.
Screw that. He's going to have you sit down on the chair.
We can have some. Well, I want him to at least have to ask educated questions because, and I've gone up against some skeptics, and I've gone up against. I even went up against what's his name, the colonel that wrote the UFO book. He was a colonel, I think, in the Army. Oh God, I'm looking at his name right now, and I can't say it, but he believes that his position is that UFOs are real. John Alexander. UFOs are real, but there's no cover-up. And I'm going,
What?
how do you have that position? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, you tell me whether, and I got into this debate, and I could say, well, look, there's this case, there's this case, there's this case, and I know this to a fact. You cannot tell me otherwise because I personally investigated, I personally spoke to the witnesses, and I personally knew that the evidence was confiscated, never seen or heard from again. So you can't sit there and tell me that. It's just simply not true.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, sorry. Where was I?
I don't know, but we got 3 minutes left of music.
Oh, okay.
So what
Well,
do
that
you
was a
want to
quick
tell
30
everybody
minutes,
within
huh?
3 minutes?
Um,
But James, I want to thank you big time.
Yep,
and
me
you know,
too.
everybody, just to
And-
let
and
everybody
tell-
know that the reason why James is actually here tonight is tomorrow we're starting to shoot for the TV show, and James Fox is going to be our first episode on the Fox Network here in California.
Well, I will say this, that I do appreciate your guys' support tremendously, and I get invites all the time, and I only make exceptions for you and like 2 other people, and that's it.
Well, Dave, tell Dave when you see him that I said hi.
I will definitely do that.
And I mean, that guy is so great. I palled around with him for like a week and a half,
And don't forget to
I mean,
share
I
with your
stayed right
listeners
with him,
the letter from Spielberg.
Oh, well,
You can't do it now, but you can do it at some point.
Well,
We will.
that's the TV show tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
No, we're gonna do that on the TV show.
Awesome.
I'm saving that puppy.
Good.
I'm saving that for TV, baby.
Don't forget about the Sonoma Film Festival, you guys.
Oh, so James is gonna send me all the information on that in a couple days, and next week I will let everybody know about that. God, I hope Cheryl
we'll be having it posted on our websites and
Yes,
stuff, and
big time.
Facebook.
It'll be fun to see I Know What I Saw on the big screen.
Are you
Yes,
going?
It will.
Oh, heck yeah, I'm going.
Oh, James
It's
is going,
it's-
guys.
It's on Paranormal TV right now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's like on the Roku or something like that.
Oh, wow.
James
okay.
is going
Cool.
to the
It's on YouTube.
Sonoma Film Festival.
YouTube, too.
Yeah, YouTube too. Yeah.
I think it's coming up to 500,000 views already.
Yeah. Dang.
Isn't that cool?
1
I
minute
know,
to music.
don't you wish you would have posted it?
You know, I wouldn't get that many views if I did. But, yeah. Yeah,
Neither would I.
Yeah, I know.
All right, you guys, we're just about out of here. I want to thank James Fox for coming in, driving all the way from San Francisco. We're going to go to Denny's now.
At a high rate of speed.
And tomorrow we're going to shoot 4 episodes actually 5 episodes we're going to shoot tomorrow. James Fox is going to be the first one, then he's going to go home. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We went half an hour long, but I'm pretty sure nobody gives a rat's ass because it was awesome. So
Yeah.
so
Except every when you use words like that, Keith's going,
oh man, Art Bell is going, oh,
you have
suck.
to hit the beat button again.
I had a lot of fun, you guys. We could have talked. We seriously could have talked for 8 hours, right? Don't you think?
Easy.
Yeah.
Well, we used to. We used to come back from a shoot and then stand out in front of the hotel till like 2 in the morning.
So, all right, you guys, this is Jeffrey, James, and Alan saying good night. You guys take care wherever you may be. Remember, keeping the eyes in the skies, and I hope you witness something that you cannot explain. See you next week. Peace.
You have been listening to Paranormal Central with Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas, broadcasting worldwide at paranormalcentral.net and on artbell.com. Stay tuned for next time. Remember to keep your eyes to the skies, and we hope you witness something you cannot explain.
Looking for you, you're looking for me. We have to decide what it will be. Can it be true? Can I believe the unexplained? Look into the sky, you realize you're not alone. Open your eyes, you can find the trails that control.
Awesome mix.
It was cool.
Yeah, who was
Man, they wrote that
That's
song
the band,
for us.
That's my house band.
that? Is rocking, man.
They wrote it just for us, man.
Awesome.
Hey,
All right.
Keith, thank you, sir, so much.
For letting us
Guys,
go
that
30
was a
minutes.
ton of
So
fun,
appreciate
man.
it. Thanks. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye. That was Art Bell's people. We're Skyping.
Awesome.
That was so fun, man.
Oh, that was great. I'm so glad.
I'm glad you don't live far because you could do this anytime you want, you
I'm
know.
glad you guys let me. I
No,
really
but-
wanted to ride my motorcycle here, but here's the thing. So I haven't ridden my motorcycle
Yeah.
since I became a dad because my fiance's like,
To it. Like we want to. Like, for example, chasing UFOs. When we did that episode with James Fox and Aaron Ryder, there's a lot of stuff that got cut out. A lot of the good stuff. And I don't know why. I'm going to try to ask them why. But, it's all about the networks. It's what they want to allow to get put on TV. So I do want to talk to him about that. But, you know, there's a lot of other stuff we're going to talk about James. And, you know, obviously he's Mr. UFO guy. For those who don't know James Fox, Out of the Blue, and I Know What I Saw is his two, you know, documentaries that pretty much put him on the board, on the wall. And, you know, everybody knows him from that. So, and right now he's working on a motion picture that's going to be in theaters. I think he just started, but I don't know how long it's going to take for him to film that, but we'll see what happens. So
we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. So let me go ahead and get a hold of Danny. And we have guard dogs here at Paranormal Central Studios because, man, some crazy stuff happened yesterday. Yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about that before I call Danny. You know, on Friday, what?
Number?
What number? Oh, 4219. Twice. And, who was that? There's James. Hold on, guys. Hello, James. Yes, then you want to go north now. Make a left. Sorry, guys. Hold on. So you want to go over? Oh, no. You want to go towards? Well, depending on which mountain. You're going to go north on Clovis Avenue. Oh. When you got off the freeway, which way did you go? Oh. Okay. Crap. Oh. Well, then you're cool. You wanna go. You want to make a left out of there and go down Clovis Avenue. Go make a left. So you went wrong. You went south instead of north. Sorry, guys. Right. Exactly. Right. I think so. It's right across the street from Winter's Nest, right? Yeah. So just go head to the left. So if you and then you're gonna go over the freeway that you just got off of, and you're gonna go probably 2 miles, 3 miles, and it's on your right hand side on Gettysburg. Right. No. You want to make a right. Correct. And you'll see them. They'll be right there. Two of them together. Wow. So, okay. All right. You'll be good. Okay. Okay. Bye. All right. Sorry, guys. Apologies. That was him. He got a little lost in Fresno, and yeah, you can get lost in Fresno. So okay. So let me tell you what happened yesterday. Actually happened Friday. I got this weird call, and you know what? A lot of you guys are not gonna believe me, and you know what? At this point in time, there's nothing I can do to make you believe me or not. But I'm gonna tell you what happened to me, and then what it continues happening to us because of what we're doing. As you all know, I have a 24-hour UFO hotline, and I've had that now going on almost when I started the Sanger Paranormal Society, and that was, you know, like I said, 2002, 2003, right around there. And my number now is, you know, we're getting a lot of calls from around America. I mean, Alan can pretty much, my wife gets upset at me because that phone rings off at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, we just get calls from all over the place now. And I guess what they're doing is they're typing in paranormal and 24-hour or paranormal hotline, and our number's coming up, which is awesome because we're getting all kinds of calls from Bigfoots to evil demons to UFOs. I mean, it's all the same, guys. It's crazy and it's awesome. And Friday I got a call, and you know what, Eddie, if you are listening, dude, this lady lives in the same mobile home complex where you lived. All right. She called me. She was a photographer. She says she's outside and she takes, you know, pictures up in the sky, and she's getting a lot of stuff. And she was like really weird, and not weird, but I want to say scared, because by the way she was talking, she was getting some great stuff. And she goes, I need to send it to you, Jeff. I'm going, okay. So I gave her my address, and I told her, well, how are you going to send them to me? She goes, I'll put them on a flash drive and I'll send them to you. And I said, okay. And she goes, I don't want you to make them known right away. I want to see if they're real or not. And I said, okay. And then she goes, well, what do you know about chemtrails? We got cut off as soon as she finished the last word of trails. She said chemtrail, and my phone got cut off. And I'm looking at my iPhone, and I have all the bars on it. And this is the second time this has ever happened. The first time was with my sister who lives in Sanger. She called me 6-7 years ago. Said, hey, there is a triangle that just went over the Walmart in Sanger heading towards you. And she called me to tell me I was outside, and she was about to give me exactly the location. Click. My phone went dead. I'm looking at it. It's the iPhone that had full bars on it. I called her back. It was busy. I called her back. I got it. Got her on. I go, what happened, Veronica? And she goes, I don't know. I was talking to you, and it went dead. She goes, okay, well, which way is it going? It's going click, and it went dead again. It got cut off. Just like click. I'm on. You got to be freaking kidding me. So I tried it the third time, and I got her back on. She said it's gone. So I don't know where it's at. And I'm all, son of a beep. So this is what happened on Friday. Okay, it as soon as she said chemtrail, click, we went dead. And to this day I still can't get a hold of her. I call and it goes straight to voicemail. Now on Saturday, somebody hacked into my wife's bank account, and also on that day as well, there was an outage in our area for the internet. And then the outage was taken care of yesterday morning at 9, but our box didn't come back on. And I called Comcast for the longest time, and we're trying forever. And everybody else is fine, but little old us is no internet at all. So I am panicking because James' box is obviously coming in here. And so I said, and I was talking to a live person. I'm going, you guys better get your you-know-what out here Sunday morning. Because I work for AT&T, so I told them, you better give me a window between 8 and 10, and they did. They showed up and they gave me a new modem, so we're up and running. But we got a call last night from somebody in Pennsylvania, right, Alan? Is it Pennsylvania?
Yep, Pennsylvania.
Okay, and some guy shot a Bigfoot.
That's what he said.
Okay, and the guy was scared.
20 feet away.
The guy was scared out of his wits, out of his mind. He called Alan, talked to Alan for a while. Alan had to go home. Then he called back and talked to me for a while. And him and his brother are scared out of their minds. Now, are they trying to pull a fast one on us?
It was really hard to tell. They seemed legit. I mean, the guy was, I think, crying. And he was asking me, "Are they going to kill me? Are they going to kill me?"
Right.
And what do you tell him?
Well, when you went home, and I the phone rang, and it was them again. And I was listening to Alan talk to them because we were in the studio getting ready for today and tomorrow. And I told him, well, I overheard you talking to Ellen, and so you did shoot one, right? And he goes, yeah. I go, well, you're gonna die tonight.
Oh,
I mean, literally, I said that, and he freaking freaked, because let me tell you something: if you kill a Bigfoot and he has family around him, they're gonna get you. Right?
This guy's story was like, he tells me he's 20 feet away. He's on his porch, and he has a Remington 700, and he shoots it right in the chest. And he said he always shoots things in the chest because they die. Right? That's where you kill.
He's a hunter. He doesn't know who we are. He doesn't never listen to our show. He just went on. Matter of fact, he asked you a question.
Yeah, he says, what do you think about Bigfoots and UFOs, right, being together? And I told him, well, lots of reports of Bigfoots and UFOs together. Some of them seeing the Bigfoot coming out of a UFO, some of them the Bigfoot's going in the UFO, right? He says, well, I'm glad you said that, because this big UFO lit up the forest right in front of my house, like a big, glowing, lit the whole forest up. And out of this light comes 3 Bigfoots. And he said they looked like they had revenge on their mind, like they're gonna get him,
Right.
And then while we're on the phone, you could hear something hitting the house, right? And it was freaking the guy out. He was like almost crying. After a few of those, he goes, I gotta go, man. They're not gonna kill me because I'm gonna kill them first. And he goes, which would you use, a shotgun or a 700? And I told him shotgun, 12 gauge, right? And he goes, yeah. I go, shotgun with a slug. That way you just kind of like point and shoot, and it's gonna hurt, really, and no aiming or anything. You can go from the hip and you can unload 8 of them, really quick. He's like, okay. He goes, if I get any pictures, I'll send them to you. I'm like, all right. And we hung up.
Yeah, and then he called me and we talked and all that kind of stuff. So, stories like that, do we know if they're true or not? It's hard to say, but I can tell because I've gotten so many phone calls in the past. I can tell you if one is trying to pull a fast one on us or not, and it's just by getting these calls that I can weed out those type of calls. So,
you know what I thought? I bet that we have viewers or Facebook friends in Pennsylvania or right by him. I bet. Is there anybody out there in chat that's next, in Pennsylvania? Maybe we could hook him up or, get them two together, and then the guy could go do a face-to-face.
I still got his number because it came up on the,
right,
and it's just sitting there. So I know a number. We can call him back.
And then we'll find out if he's real or not.
Right. So, and because you never know. You absolutely never know. So, okay, we're going to get a hold of Danny and get him on the line and see if his mom let him out of the basement. That's loud.
Yeah, I have heard of the Sasquatch Chronicles. I haven't had time to keep up on it, though.
Hello.
Hey, Danny.
Hello.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Just enjoying the 90-degree weather.
Yeah.
No kidding.
We're in the
man.
studio. We have an air conditioner was actually put in here, but it didn't get turned on enough time to cool down this place. So.
All your makeup's going to run by the end of the show.
Dude.
It will look like we're crying.
Yeah.
We're crying because, we know you're only going to last a couple of minutes.
Right.
Then,
And he's talking about tomorrow, folks. We're shooting the TV show tomorrow, so not right now. We don't have.
You wear makeup.
We don't have makeup right now. Shut up.
Oh, yes, I do. No, I'm just kidding.
So.
Welcome to Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from Central California with your hosts Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas. Broadcasting video worldwide at ParanormalCentral.net and broadcasting audio on the Dark Matter Network at ArtBell.com. Are you ready to witness something that you cannot explain?
I'm looking for you. You're looking for me. We have to decide what it will be. Can it be true? Can I believe the unexplained? Look into the sky. You realize you're not alone. Open your eyes. You can find the trails that control.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from the Paranormal Studios in the bottom left-hand corner of the Nevada Triangle. Good evening. My name is Jeffrey Gonzalez. I am your host. I'm also the founder of a group called the Sanger Paranormal Society. We have been in existence over 13 years. Been doing this show for 7 years. So if this is your first time, welcome wherever you may be around the world. We have fans now popping in everywhere, and that's awesome. We are broadcasting on live stream, HD quality for all you who are watching us right now. If you want to listen to us, you can also do that at the artbell.com website on the Dark Matter Network. And you can listen to us there as well. Excuse me. We have a big show for you tonight, and I don't know why, but that music is blaring, so, isn't it?
Yeah, you could turn mine down a little.
Okay. Yeah, we have added a third seat in here, as you can see. The middle seat is vacant. We have a good friend of ours, and I can say that because he is. Mr. James Fox is going to be walking in here in the studio in a little bit. He is coming in from San Francisco, and he's actually coming in here for a couple of reasons. Tomorrow we are starting to shoot the TV show, and Mr. James Fox is going to be episode number 1 on the TV show. So, yeah, Mr. James Fox is going to be in the studio here. He's actually driving in from San Francisco, and I think he is, I know where he's at somewhere, but I don't know. When he gets here, obviously he'll come in and sit down and probably be here for the rest of the show. So, can't wait for that. Again, if you are watching us on live stream, I'm hoping that you're getting us on HD quality, because it sure looks good on our monitors over here. All right. Let's go. Okay. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and call Danny, like we usually do. For those who don't know, Danny is our Squatch reporter, and he's gonna give us the know-how on Bigfoot from around the world within the past week. And then I'm trying to get a hold of Heidi so we can go ahead and call Heidi and then get her to get on the phone, so that way we can go ahead, and as soon as James Fox gets in here, we can go ahead and just talk with him the rest of the show. And I think there's a lot of things I want to talk about with James. I think, on the TV show, we can only get into certain subjects, and we really can't get in. All right. Okay, there's Heidi Hollis. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's give the Squatch report for today, mister.
All right.
You suck.
You got the first picture up?
Yeah, so Keith told us you have a short report.
I forgot to download his pictures and Heidi's pictures.
Oh, that's good.
Rookie.
Don't I suck? Well, that was what we were trying. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, everybody, go to Art Bell, because Art Bell. I mean, you only sent how many pictures?
4.
4. Okay. Go to Art Bell, guys.
These stories are all visual. So.
Okay. So you can go to Art. Okay. So you can go to Art Bell right now, artbell.com and paranormalcentral.net. I know I suck. And you can go and visually look on his on there right now. It has a link for those pictures. Sorry,
you might be able to open them up while he's talking about it and download them. I mean,
okay, well, let's try that.
You could try.
And then what happens? Like,
and if the whole show,
if
off,
it crashes, then we just have 2 shows again.
No, I hate that. So, okay, all right. Well, let's go ahead. Go. Picture number 1.
Right.
Go for it.
The first one is from geeksnack.com, and it's from January 29th, and it's night vision contact lenses that they're working on to help you see in the dark. And these were made by University of Michigan researchers, and they've created a super thin material which can detect infrared light. And it's a material that's called graphene, and it's a single layer of carbon atoms that can see the infrared spectrum. So it's a new way to detect light, and they envision these people adopting.
You've got mail.
For different materials and devices. So if you have glasses like Google Glass, maybe you can see in the dark with those too. They're trying to think of different devices that they could put these on, as well as the contact lenses. So they want to have any kind of wearable electronics to expand your vision.
Have you ever...
With the current devices for night vision, they require a built-in cooling system in order for them to work properly. But these night vision contact lenses, they can work at room temperature, so you don't have to worry about that. And it'd be useful for Bigfooting in the dark.
You know that, like, wasn't it like the Roswell crash? What was that guy's name? The Colonel.
Yeah.
And he said
Corso?
Yeah, and they took the lenses out of the alien eyes.
That's exactly the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, yeah.
It's finally here.
Wow. So we could I wonder if they can make them look like dragon or, like monster-looking eyes. And that way we could scare the
They peeled off the eyes. It looked like black eyes, but it was actually like a cover for their eyes, and it was either glasses or night vision or some kind of thermal imager on their eyes. So this is probably the technology. Finally figured out how to do it.
Yeah, like 50 years or 60 years.
That's kind of crazy. But it helped you, not only for Bigfooting, but if you're going in a cave searching for them, you can wear these. And if you had dark places, like sometimes the forest gets really dark, you can pop these on even during the day. Pop these on. I wish they could come with thermal imaging on them too. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh man!
And I'd hope they make these in like the wraparound glasses instead of contact lenses, because I don't know if I'd be able to put anything on my eyes.
Delay. Hold on.
Well, okay, I got the pictures up. I was able to do it while you were talking.
I knew
I
you
am
could.
good.
See? Yeah.
I am good.
That'd be pretty cool if they can make something other than contact lenses.
Yeah, that would be.
I think I'd have a hard time putting those in.
Yeah, like the motorcycle helmets, that have the flip down visor.
Yeah.
Have you seen those? That would what we need, like a hat that has a flip down visor that just pops down off the bill. It goes dunk right in front of your eyes.
Then we could look at like those guys at the Comic-Con thing wearing the helmets with the dark visors.
Yeah.
They probably had all kinds of information in front of them.
Well, you
could
think
they could see
did,
us.
But, they
Just
wish.
like an X-ray.
They wish they did. They're pretending like it anyways, like cause